What up, what up? A2HH live in the afternoon on a Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. How we doing over here, Coop?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man. I know you got a lot going on this week. I mean, we all had a busy weekend, man. It's it seems like it's nonstop. Hip hop don't stop. And then we got Hip Hop 50 coming, I guess, officially next weekend. It's a busy plate. And Eminem dropped a verse. So, I mean, I want to get right to it. I mean, I know we had people in here waiting, and people were waiting on our response. Easy Mills was just signed to Eminem and Dr. Dre. So I guess he's an Aftermath Shady artist. Last time I think we saw that on a big level was 50, right? Mm-hmm. Dropped a song Friday, The Realest. Eminem had a verse on there where he seemingly responded to the game after a year and a half, which I don't feel, we're going to get into all that. And he called out Melle, and he called out many of his critics. What did you think of the verse?
I thought it was a pretty solid verse.
Thought so?
Yeah, I thought it was a good verse.
You know what? This is what I'll say, because I got a lot of notes here. I got a couple of things that I got here pulled out. All right, and I think we should break this thing down, right? Problematic. I think he sounds reinvigorated to a degree. I think, voice-wise, cadence-wise, delivery-wise, he sounds better than he has. But lyrically, I still think that, there's some things that are kind of missing the mark.
Such as?
All right. Well, I think I've been very vocal about this before in my critiques of, some of his punchlines, I guess, in recent date. I don't like when he does things like, even in Dubai, because my music, they do buy. You think that's dope?
If Jay-Z were to say that same thing?
I would say the same thing. I would. Even in Dubai, because my music, they do buy.
No, I don't think that you would.
Okay, what about this one? Because you'll get washed like a bar of soap.
Okay, that's bad.
Okay.
That's bad.
Okay. I got another one here. Let's see. I know it's okay. I know it eats your heart like an artichoke because that's how likely you are to choke. Think that's dope? We do like that BET show where they have people rate the bars and they don't know who said it. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Here we go. I got another one too. Because I don't like when he does these things. No, it's the Dubai. Okay, I think it was, it might have been the Melle shot. Let's see. Okay. It'll be the last to toy with a juice head whose brains is like half destroyed. Like a meteor hit it. Well, there went Melle. We lost his asteroids. He said it like asteroids, but asteroids. Think that's clever?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It is. That is actually.
What do the people think?
That is actually.
I think that was the better of the three, but the artichoke and R2 choke, and you get washed up like a bar of soap.
The artichoke and the bar of soap thing, yes.
I didn't like the Dubai thing either. Even in Dubai, yeah.
It's not great, but it's not like it's awful as you're making it seem. What about the rest of the verse,
Mike? Okay, well, we'll start at the top.
Oh, Lord. Did you write this whole verse?
I didn't write the whole verse. I wrote some of the things that I wanted to address. He says...
Now, hold on. Who else do you do this for that you give this much energy to?
I don't think there's anybody that's overrated like this. So, I mean...
Okay.
So, I don't think there's anybody that's held such high lyrically that's not really as lyrically potent as people may make them seem. But this is one thing that he said that I think stands out, right? Because people are just going to say because of how he sounded and he sounds better than he normally has that he killed this verse. But when we break it down, did he really?
I didn't say he killed it.
Okay.
I said it's a good verse, though.
Okay.
It is.
My skin color's still working against me because I should be second to none. You feel like his skin color works against him?
In some respects, it does. Like in the respect of, some people would say this show.
Well, I think that his skin color, again, there's pros and cons of it,
Also,
right?
there's some obvious pros.
And I think the pros actually have him in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? I think that without that part of it, I don't know if we would even be talking about him to this degree, because now we got to look at the resume, right? Because I think that when he says his skin color is working against him, you would think that he would have a catalog to boot that, you know, would rival, let's just say, a Scarface, right? Because I think that we talk all the time that people like Scarface and Common, their regions work against them. The fact that they're not from New York. I think there are a lot of people in hip hop who have tons of things that work against them, right? As far as how they're heralded on an all-time list.
Yeah, I can see that.
Specifically
with those two. Yeah.
But I don't think for him, his skin color really works against him, other than the sense of, you know, people are just recently undressing his catalog. I think what's happened over the past 15 years, I could say 10 to 15 years, I think that he was, you know, unwarrantedly, if that's a word, put in a conversation that musically he shouldn't have been in, right? As far as like on the all-time list, based on his catalog, based on the output, based on the quality, based on the lack of longevity of quality. And I think now that people are saying things about it, he's feeling like, whoa, what happened? But nothing happened except for the fact that people are actually digging into his catalog. And I don't think that's because the color of his skin. I just think that that's just time. And I think that's why he called out Generation Z years too.
I don't think people have been like dissecting his catalog like with the intention of breaking it down. We just live in a society where, quite frankly, we revalidate music over and over again by how timeless the music is. That's
Right.
why the timeless themes matter. Like, I was thinking the other day, it's like, oh, well, timeless themes is not an Illmatic thing. That's a rap song thing. Like, look at Bone, For the Love of Money, First of the Month,
Yeah.
Crossroads,
Yeah.
timeless themes.
Yeah.
And so what you're really finding with his music is that he really didn't cover a lot of timeless themes.
Yeah.
And because he didn't cover a lot of timeless themes, the music isn't holding up as well.
Yeah.
I could say the same thing about Jay, just to a different degree.
I think I agree with that
Like,
to a
Jay's
different
music
degree.
is still way better, but the part of Jay's music that hasn't really held up is the stuff that's not timeless theme-wise. Streets is Watching, holding up. Imaginary Player, holding up. Dead Presidents, holding up.
And I think the fact that Jay stayed out here and stayed consistent on a level helps him in that conversation.
Absolutely.
But if his run was 99 to 03 and we've been getting subpar material since, we wouldn't talk about him in the way that we do. If we just have volume, let's just say hypothetically.
Look at how we talk about Kane. And look at how we talk about G-Rap. So I wouldn't be so
I
quick
think
to
that's
say
because
that.
those guys are so early too.
I don't know.
And I think that, in my personal opinion, I don't know the facts on this, I think Kane's done a lot of stuff that we don't know he did. And I think that's why he's held very high too. I think a lot of the stuff that Kane might have done behind the scenes has held him up as well. And I think Eminem's probably done a lot of things behind the scenes too.
Okay.
That we're not, we don't totally give credit for either, but I think that's in the camp too, Kane kind of broke down doors in a way where he can't be etched out of history in that way. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's what I mean. Is it's like, well, Jay had done enough in that run that you're talking about that it's like maybe not to the awestruck point that it's gotten to, but oh no, would still be like talked about like a whole lot, Mike, like a whole lot.
Mad Max with the super chat says, I get on Nas for the Black Panther 2 bar, but these M lines, sheesh, high tier garbage. M's not a punchline MC, he's a storyteller who has no stories to tell. The other part of that line, because this kind of comes together, he says, being white ain't why they put me at 5. It's why they can't put me at 1. Now, what do you think about that bar? Because I think that's a very interesting bar.
That is a loaded, like that's probably the one thing that he said where I was like, whoa, like, well, hold on.
Why
Because,
can't they put him at 1?
well, I've always told you this, Mike. It's like, well, as an MC, he's the first, MC of his pigmentation or lack thereof, I guess, that would be classified as a top tier MC. Okay? And because of that, he got invited to a lot of things by black people, like literally and figuratively, in the way that nobody has before or since. Okay? Now, about that, he got those invites because he's dope. And that's what I've always told you. But I've also always told you that just based off the catalog, like forget the skills, but just off the catalog, he can't be top 5 because the catalog doesn't speak to it. And so if you want to talk about the catalog, oh yeah, we can have that conversation. But as an MC, he is top tier, and I've always told you that. And so it's like, I kind of stand where I stand. Do I think he should even be at 5? No, that would be too high for me, just truthfully speaking. But he would be on my list, though. You know what I mean? Like, he would be in my top 25, most likely.
I'm gonna be totally real. And I guess maybe, growing up, we were reading the Source magazine, and it was all about, especially in the late 90s, it was about everything you could do, your level of versatility. I think Big and Pac really changed that for the game. It wasn't just about how nice you can be. We separated the guys who could just rhyme from the guys who were entertainers, from the guys who could do it all. And for me, it was all about the guys who could do it all. We kind of put the Cannabises, and I always bring him up because he was the first one I experienced that was like that was like super nice on the mic, but didn't have the material to match, right? We put them in a whole different corner because it's like, yeah, you nice. You might out-rap Biggie or whoever on a song, but just because you out-rhymed Redman on Beast from the East doesn't mean you're better than Redman, right? And so for me, it feels like with Eminem, he's the only guy where we somehow just disregard the catalog to a degree and just extract his lyrical ability. And off of the stuff that I just read, his lyrical ability is just not what people are billing it to be. That's not top 5 lyricist stuff. Artichoke?
Not
you choke? Like,
hold on. First of all, he's not who he used to be. With the exception of one person, I can't think of anybody in this rap game who was who they were 20, 25 years ago.
Was he that great 25 years ago, though?
Yes.
You think he was a top 5 lyricist 25 years ago?
Oh, 25 years ago. Let me see. What's that? 98? 98
Because if we're judging everybody by their prime, you really think that in his prime Eminem is top 5 all time?
No,
lyrically?
maybe not top 5, but he deserves like some consideration is what I'm saying. I think you were probably discounting how good his first 3 albums are, and I think when you make 3 albums that good, no, there's not a lot of top tier MCs, lyricists, rappers that can say that. There's not. His first 3 albums are good, Mike. So it's like when you're having
good.
Well, I mean, when you're bringing up cannabis conversation, like with Eminem, that's where I feel like you're being totally unfair to him. It's like, oh no, he's nothing.
He made better albums. Than
no, it's far superior. It's
but he also had Dr. Dre.
No, hey, nobody. Hold on, no. Cannabis had Wyclef's peak. Okay, so
Wyclef's not Dr. Dre.
He may not be Dr. Dre, but that's around the time that he was doing the score and the carnival. So let's not make it seem like he was around some slouch. Cannabis failed Wyclef more than Wyclef.
This is what I was saying. I've always said this. Eminem's a better songwriter than Cannabis, yes. And I only bring up Cannabis in a sense where we used to look at the fact that, you know what, you don't want to get on a song with him. You know what I'm saying? Or he'll kill you on a song. That's the narrative. But it was always like, okay, well, what music do you have? Now, Eminem had music, but it really wasn't geared towards a hip-hop audience. And I think that's what makes his situation slightly different. Let me get to the super chat real quick. 36 Chambers says, I disagree with Mad Max. If Jay said some of these punchlines, we would be saying these are bars.
Correct.
I think we always look at M with perspective that won't allow objectivity. This isn't great, but not as trash as people are saying. But you know what? I remember when Jay did his verse on the DJ Khaled record with Nas on it, and he was talking about another beat. And we laughed at that, right? Like Gilly even went out there and did a whole joke about it. So I don't know if that's really accurate, because we do call out Jay when he says stuff like, 38 revolve like the earth around the sun around the earth, or whatever he said. We call out those things. Ghosts, goblins, whatever he said on mine. So that verse is trash.
And you want to know why? And you want to know why we do that? You want to know why we do that? Why do we do that?
Because he's great.
Correct. Okay.
We do that because we know what he can do. I do that when it comes to Eminem, because I hear about what he is, and it never really matches up to the actual bars.
The rating may not match up, Mike, but like the bars have matched up before. Like, that's not fair. Like, you've heard his stuff. It's like you've heard Brain Damage. It's like, no, you've heard him on Forgot About Dre. You've heard him on The Way I Am.
What cool?
You've heard him on So What You Saying. Like, no. Like, you've heard these records.
They're good.
It's like, so when you're saying you've heard him on Renegade. So it's like, no, don't feed me that like he can't do top tier lyricist
but
stuff.
cool.
Like, we have evidence of him doing top tier lyricist stuff.
Let me say this.
You're wrong, and you're the only person who feels
Let
that
me
he
say
hasn't
this.
done top tier.
Let me
lyricist
say
stuff.
this, Coop. If I were to say this about Prodigy right now, you would be going out in quotes. You would come through with bars. If I were to say this about Raekwon, you would be spitting. We just did this on Only Built for Cuban Links. When we were talking about Akuma and Only Built for Cuban Links, you came with verses.
It's only built for Cuban links.
I'm just saying, if you feel this
only
way about him,
Are
where
you
the
re-
bars?
Are you really bringing up only built for
No,
Cuban
I'm
links?
bringing up the fact that, I brought up Prodigy too. I'm bringing up the fact that you, as a hip hop head and as a hip hop, you're a scholar at this point, right?
Correct.
If
I am giving you.
Yes, but if you're giving me songs, but you would start rapping the shit. You remember when you and I had a debate about the Who Shot Ya, and I said Keith Murray had a better verse than Prodigy? You broke down the Prodigy verse.
Okay, that's fair.
And I'm just saying, if it was like that with this guy, I wouldn't even have to ask.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Well, that's fair. So here's my rebuttal to that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like that to me,
mm-hmm.
but I understand what other people hear. I understand what people are saying. So it's like, no, do I feel about him lyrically the way I feel about Prodigy? It's like, oh no, not me, not I.
Well, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean is like, no, do I think he's top 5? No. Would he be like top 25 to 30 to me? It's like, yes. So it's like my skew isn't as skewed as yours is what I'm saying. It's like, for me, I would worry if you would have him in your top 50. For me, that would be absurd to have him out of my top 50. For you, I think it's plausible. That's what I think our gap is. It's like, do I think he's better than Ray? No. Do I think he's better than Prodigy? No. And those guys would be guys that would consider to be, for most people, I think somewhere in the 10 to 25 range, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so with that being said, it's like, no, I feel you when it's like, oh, where are those, like,
where the bars?
Where's that legendary like bars and stuff that you're talking about? It's like, well, I just bought up the ones that he's probably most renowned for, which is Renegade and Forgot About Dre.
And for me,
and that's why I bought it up. And then when you talk about behind the scenes, it's like, well, he wrote The Watcher. That is
he did write The Watcher. That's dope.
That's a top 5 Dr. Dre solo performance. Solo, no Snoop, no Nate Dogg on the hook.
That's a very.
You know what I'm saying? That's a top 5 Dre song, like by himself. Dr. Dre by himself?
Dr. Dre doesn't have a lot of songs by himself.
Correct. So imagine.
That's kind of a skewed stat, but I feel you.
But think about it, though. There's a reason that Dr. Dre doesn't normally have songs by himself, because he really doesn't finish like that. He's really not a 3-verse type of guy. So Eminem did something for him with The Watcher. It's like,
that's dope. It's a dope record.
For me, next to Keep Your Heads Ringing, I can't think of a better song where it's just Dre.
Still DRE.
Where it's just Dre.
I mean, the hook counts
I'm representing for the hook counts. Mike Method Man on Ice Cream. Hook counted last week on the Purple
But no.
Tape.
Eminem's on the hook for The Watcher. Everywhere that I go. So we're not counting that song either.
Is he really on the hook?
Yeah. It ain't Dre. so how can you count that record and not count Still DRE?
That's fine. We can count Still DRE.
Okay, well, there it is.
That would be a superior record, but it's up there. He's done top tier stuff.
Stephon Young with a super chat says, M has more bad albums than good. And usually that's a problem, but I guess for whatever reason.
No, that's a
this
problem. Like I said,
individual-
if you want to have a catalog conversation, it's like, but the MC conversation, it's like, no, I don't want to have, because there are so many other people we could be having an MC conversation about.
Well, it's always about catalog with me, and I try to be consistent in that.
Oh, what about the verse on Game's album on the documentary? What about Patiently Waiting, Don't Push Me verses?
How does
what
the
I'm saying.
game verse go? Because I don't know. I'm going to be perfectly
I haven't
honest.
listened to the record in a long time. I haven't listened to the documentary in a long time, in all fairness, though, Mike. I don't be listening to rap like that anymore. It's
But I'm sure you know some game verses on the documentary. We talk about how that shit had LA on fire, had Cali on fire.
No,
when niggas bumping that,
no, they played everything on that album, including the M joint. That was getting played.
how does verse go? I don't.
I'd have to think about it. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Okay, to the next bar. We'll break this thing down real
I think the
quick.
last record I listened to on the documentary was the Don't Worry record with Mary.
Okay, this is what I will say, because I do want to kind of piggyback off of this. Being white ain't why they put me at 5. It's why they can't put me at 1. I feel like, if the publications, and I guess he's talking about Billboard, right? And I don't know if this was, I'm going to be fair. Do you think that M feels away at the fact that Kendrick Lamar is at number 2 all time as well? I know we keep talking about Drake feeling away, but Eminem's been around longer. He's in the same camp. You know what I'm saying? He does more numbers than the guy. Do you think that he possibly feels a way about the fact that Kendrick's at 2 and he's like, I guess 5 or 6 wherever they had him? Because I know he doesn't feel a way about the fact that Jay is over him, and I know he wouldn't feel that way about Nas either.
Now, Mike, let's be real. You just asked me. It's like, well, where the verses at, Coop? Because if you would be spitting them. And so I look right back at you and be like, yo, where them Kendrick verses at? Which ones, Mike? What? Because he doesn't have a Forgot About Dre type of verse to me. That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't. What song?
You got Eminem over Kendrick?
No. I'm just asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just asking questions. Like, Kendrick would win the catalog debate already.
Mm-hmm.
Even after that awful album that he just put out, he would still win the catalog debate, because his 3 best albums are far superior to M's 3 best albums, in my opinion. It's
Thumbs up in the chat, y'all. Let's get some people in here.
Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn. Oh, no. That's better than the Eminem Show, Slim Shady, and Marshall Mathers. Like, just period. You know what I mean? Inherently. But that's what I'm saying. Now flip it on M side. It's like, well, where the bars at, though? Where?
You don't think Kendrick got bars?
What, name the verse. You just told
Wow.
me. Like I gave you some song. Like, you say that I didn't spit any of the bars, but I could immediately go to verses that I thought of that he's done and stuff that he's written. Now give me the Kendrick ones like that, because I gave you like 5 or 6 M songs and verses like off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, you didn't spit the verses, but I could say the songs.
When we be having this lyrical miracle conversation about Eminem, it's like, oh, well, what absolves Kendrick from it?
I mean, because Kendrick has, how much a dollar costs. Kendrick has feel.
Those are songs.
Kendrick
That's what I'm
oh,
saying.
you talking about the actual?
Like where's the Kendrick verse where you're like, oh, well, Coop, if it was like Prodigy or Ray, oh, he not like Prodigy or Ray to me. So it's like, where Kendrick bars at when we saying that? Black
lip bastard, pass me your password so I can hack into your brain. Look inside my parking garage and see a collage of every person I despise since the moment I turned 5. Calculate my steps and strategically took my time. Even falling off, I land on the ass of Nicki Minaj. Eat that pink pussy like it's Friday, bust one, Roman reload, and smoke the Sade. Somebody tell Rihanna too. You ain't like that verse? You didn't think those was bars? Critical Mass with the super chat says, rappers were going quadruple platinum and doing shows worldwide before him. He's not why Nelly went diamond. The narrative that he blew hip hop up is false. Thank you, Critical Mass. I'm going to get to that. We're going to take this one step at a time. So do you think that Kendrick Lamar, would you put Kendrick Lamar over Eminem, or would you put Eminem over Kendrick Lamar, and why?
I would put Kendrick over Eminem, but it's more of a conversation than people realize, is what I'm saying.
I think that Eminem's feature game is superior to Kendrick's.
Yes.
I think Kendrick's made better albums.
Correct.
I think when it comes to songs that reverberate in the culture, I think they're both kind of light, but I would give Kendrick the edge because of the bitch don't kill my vibe stuff, because he has things that actually...
He has more timeless themes.
Yeah, he has things that actually translate it, where when we look back at Eminem's catalog, and I'm going to get to it when he talks about the club thing, it's like he doesn't really have much on a solo mission that reverberates in the culture. Anything that he has that may have gotten played might be like a piggyback in like a lean back remix or a Forgot About Dre or a Bitch Please Part 2 or something like that. I think the closest he got to that was
Sound Bombing.
That's some underground shit, but I feel you. I mean,
still one of his best records.
I think that the closest he got to it was The Way I Am, honestly.
I agree. I think that still might be. I mean, that still might be his best song in my opinion, though.
See, that one connected, right?
It did. But he connected because he addressed a piece of himself that the hip hop community could relate to, and so sometimes his albums suffer and his songs suffer because he doesn't talk about things that the average black man can relate to, and that's where Kendrick music has the advantage. But but inherently as an MC, I don't hear somebody who's necessarily better than M. No. Because it's like, no, I don't have somebody that on like one of the best rap albums I ever heard might have like the best verse on there. So what do you say to somebody you hate? Anyone trying to bring trouble your way, want to resolve things in a bloodier way, then study a tape of NWA. Yeah, that's way better than Kendrick shit, Mike.
Okay. Ahmad with the super chat says.
Hold on, you do remember the blueprint, right? Now, I don't think Jay got bodied, but he didn't win, and that was definitely some top tier work. It's like, no, Kendrick's never.
That's M at his best.
Kendrick's never stunted on somebody the way M stunted on Jay on Renegade. Like, never nobody of Jay's caliber has Kendrick been in.
You didn't think on Nostalgia with Pusha T?
No, because I don't think he stunted.
Okay, so you think that the Forgot About
years of selling Johnson and Johnson. I grew up as a baby. No, he did not get.
Okay, so you think Eminem's verses on Renegade are better than the Control verse?
I done told you about that Control verse. I'm tired of people talking about that Control verse like it's some great lyrical manifesto. It's not even the best verse on the song. Jay Electronica has the best verse on that song. Go listen to the song. Go listen to the song now that all the hype is gone.
People don't really play that song like you would think.
Because that song wasn't like that, and neither was that verse.
Our man with the super chat, Ormond, my bad. He says, peace. Did y'all hear LL dispel the rumor that Who Shot You was about him? We're going to talk about that. Yeah. He said that he was in the studio with Big when he made the song. LOL. He also said that, you know what, Big had a pen and a pad. He was like, I don't know if that was before he started doing whatever, but he's seen Big right too. So, yeah. And we're going to get to that. Shout out to LL, man. LL dropping freestyles and everything, man. Okay, but yeah, you didn't really answer my question, though. Do you think that M could possibly feel a way about the fact that Kendrick's at number 2?
Yes.
Because he should.
I just gave you reasons why.
He actually should.
Yeah, I just gave you reasons why.
Now, I personally, you know what? I personally will put Kendrick ahead of him, but based on how M's talking, he has to feel a way that Kendrick's number 2 all time. Because in what area, based on Billboard, is Kendrick better than him? And when he's saying...
And lyrically.
Yeah. And when he said... Because they hold him high for that, right? This ain't Mike talking. This is Billboard, right? So for him to say that the reason why I'm not number 1 is because I'm white, he sounds like he's talking about Kendrick. He's not talking about Jay. He's not talking about Nas. I know he's not talking about Pac. I know he's not talking about Big. I feel like that's a Kendrick.
This list... If you look at from the purview of who is doing the list, it does make more sense if this list reads like Jay-Z, Eminem, Nas, Tupac, Big, Drake, then maybe Kendrick.
That's what I predicted. I predicted they were going to have M ahead of Kendrick.
If we're being realistic about the purview of who actually put this list together, it's like, Jay, M, Nas, Pac, Big, Drake, Kendrick,
Have we said on this show, or maybe I've said behind the scenes?
Based on the players that, are going to, and Wayne going to fall somewhere in that cipher.
Kendrick's kind of the black Eminem, right? In many ways. We've said that on the show. And I feel like M saying this is him saying, he got my spot. Really.
Like Kendrick's a better storyteller and songmaker, but black themes. Timeless themes.
Right.
How much a dollar costs. Oh, even the story to Duckworth. It's like, well, Eminem can probably tell a story like that, But Eminem ain't from no damn Compton.
Right.
Growing up around some gangbangers, so probably
Right.
can't relate as much to his
Perspective,
story.
yeah.
Perspective matters. So it's like there are things that Kendrick obviously does better, but it's like I'm telling you inherently, it's like, oh no, I don't like necessarily can't tell you like with a clear conscience that Kendrick is a better MC than Eminem.
Well, I was gonna say M can do those things great too. Like you look at
Correct. It's
'97,
just not
Bonnie
gonna
and Clyde.
connect. It's just not gonna connect.
We don't really, you know.
So inherent. That's why I'm looking.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, people think I be giving Kendrick smoke. It's like, no, fam. It's not that I'm not giving him smoke. I see what he does well, but it's like, oh no, Eminem's problem is connecting, and that does have something to do with his whiteness. And that's why it's like, no, I don't like the whole, well, I should be number one. It's like, no, your catalog ain't like that, dog.
Exactly.
But
that screams privilege to me.
It does. It does. It's some of the priv in the house. Pull
Yeah.
up. But when he's talking about his whiteness in terms of it hurting him, it's like, oh, no. That's where, because somebody like Kendrick, it's like, well, we only really put Kendrick ahead of Eminem because we connect to the music more, not inherently a better MC.
Honestly, the fact that Billboard felt more comfortable putting Kendrick ahead of Nas, Pac, and Big than they did M says a lot.
It's disrespectful.
It says a lot. It says a lot that the fact that they're like, if we put M at 2, people are gonna go crazy on us.
I got a problem with the Pac thing even more than the Nas thing, putting him ahead of Pac. It's like, oh, really?
How?
How? With what songs? Because if we're basing it on the songs, it's like I'm just gonna need you to go ahead and flip those around then.
Yeah.
At a bare minimum, like a best case scenario. A best case scenario for Kendrick, he should have been 4th. That's a best case. That's after Jay and Pac and Nas.
And that's saying that if Mr. Morale actually was a dope album too. A great album. Mr. Morale would have to be great for him to really have that spot.
Even if the album was great, he would still fall on the back end.
Of course.
Still on the back end, like 9 or 10. And
because there's some things there's some things he's missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, where's that lyrical miracle stuff at that people wear? I told you, element and feel. That's it. Yeah. That is not enough.
To me, when you look at that list, the people that stick out, it's 3, in my opinion. It's M, Kendrick, and Nicki. They're missing some things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're missing those core records with the hit records, coupled in with the hit records, the records that resonate in hip-hop environments. Like, I mean, Nicki just doesn't have those, right? Like, I think that she has those on features similar to M, right?
Correct.
But she chose that path. We know that Nicki can do the street stuff. Her thing was clearly when the bag came, she went for the money. She went, the pop route, and that's what it was.
Get your money.
Get your money. But on the flip side of that, and I think she did a similar thing that Eminem did. Eminem went out there. The mission was, let's go ahead and connect with this pop crossover TRL audience.
Because
you did that. Yeah, that sells records.
Get this money.
But on the flip side, you can't go back and sit here and say like you were some core B-boy spinning on a damn cardboard box or something.
That's what you're doing.
Oh, sorry about that. That's me. All of my stuff is connected. Mad Max with the super chat says, that LL freestyle was crazy. L is lyrical. We'll talk about his freestyle. Did you see the freestyle?
Mm-hmm. Do you think L's more lyrical than Eminem?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think L's a better songwriter, songmaker. You know what I mean? But if we're sitting there talking about who's going to impress somebody in a cipher with just their bars and not just energy or whatever, and flow and cadence and stuff, I'll give Eminem the nod on that.
Okay.
But there's a lot of people who can say that about. Leroy Green with the super chat says, M is a great rapper in the same way that Crooked I, he's saying what I'm about to say, Crooked I, Royce, Elzai, and Tech Nine are great technical bar work, but that don't always mean black folks are going to gravitate to that by itself. I think M knows that. You think that M's nicer? Let me flip that on you, because you're talking about L. You think Eminem's lyrically nicer than Crooked I? Like if they were sitting there bar for bar in a cipher, you think Eminem is nicer than Crooked I? Because I don't.
That would be interesting. I'm still taking M. And here's what I'll tell you. Everybody that Leroy just named, shout out to Leroy. First of all, you're wrong. I want to let you know that you're wrong. Everybody that Leroy just named, name their 3 best albums for me right quick. Because I have the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, and the Eminem Show.
He does have better albums than them. That's real.
So that's what I'm saying. So all those categories y'all keep trying to put him in, about those 3 albums, he doesn't belong in those conversations. Because he's proven to risen.
He's in a weird place though, because
I didn't say he's in the best place.
He's in a weird place because you're right. You're right.
He's better than all those guys in cannabis.
He has the catalog for that. He has the catalog for that. But then when we step it up to that next level, would you put him ahead of? Look, if we're looking at everything all encompassed, right?
Let's pause.
Let's look at Beanie Siegel. That's what I want to pull out for you. Let's pause. Let's look at Beanie Siegel.
You know how I feel about.
I know.
I feel like very few.
Let's
guys
break that down.
No. How about this? Like, there are very few guys that I think are better than Siegel. Like, very few.
Because their primes were at the same time. That's why I want to mention Siegel. So you're telling me if I hit you up,
I'll take Siegel over Kiss and Thought.
When you and I were at Dave and Buster's back in 2002, if I ask you, man, who's better, BD Siegel or Eminem?
Siegel.
Exactly. And that's their primes.
I feel that way about Siegel in his prime versus all. How about this? Siegel in his prime? It's like, no. Nas, J, Siegel. That's how I felt. Me and my bro used to talk about it. It's like, we used to be like, Face. We used to argue about him and Face. It's like, well, who's third or fourth right now after them two? It's like, oh, it's either Siegel or it's Face.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like that with Siegel. That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's not a normal guy. I got somebody for you because here's the thing. I got somebody who's made 4 dope albums to Eminem's 3, who Eminem has borrowed from. Redman.
Yeah.
Do you think Redman's greater than Eminem?
Of course.
But how much greater? You get what I'm saying?
In my opinion.
Think about how we talk about Reggie Noble.
In my opinion.
He's in most people's top 15, top 20, correct?
In my opinion, he's much better.
How?
He connected for me. You know what I mean? You got the how highs. You know, from a technical standpoint, I will give you this. Eminem is proven to be a better storyteller.
Correct.
You know, and if we really want to dig into the intricate writings and talking about giving more of yourself to the mic, I'll give him that too. Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, just on some basic beats and rhymes, rocking the mic, performance, I mean, I'm going to have to give that to Reggie, man. And then when you look at what him and Method Man were able to do together, I think it supersedes what him and Royce were able to do together as well.
You're leaving the Dre out on 2001, and I feel you on that because it's like, here's the reality of the matter. Like, as much as I love Method Man and Redman, it's like, oh no, how high is their salvo? And Blackout not fucking with the Chronic 2001.
Why are we giving Eminem the Chronic 2001?
No, he contributed.
He contributed, but
he's one of the main contributors. Him and Snoop are main contributors.
And so is Hitman. Big contributor. I think Hitman's the biggest contributor there. Exhibit as well.
You don't have to be the biggest contributor to be the biggest contributor to make you the MVP. But
who was the MVP of 2001, you think? You think that's him?
It's usually Snoop. It's usually Snoop. If Snoop's in the room, Snoop's usually the MVP.
Nate
There's some collaborative stuff going on. Could be Nate. Here's what I'm saying with that. Oh, well, Mike, Redman made 3 great albums, and then there's Doc's The Name, which is dope, which gives him like a slight album advantage over M, but he's not no leaps and bounds better. Redman's not leaps and bounds better than Eminem as a lyricist. So it's like, I'm using Redman as a barometer. It's like, no. If you know Redman and know Redman's catalog, understand Eminem's not too far behind that.
Choose the day you hallucinate, smoking me out without warning, torn ghettos, the opposite of Goodfellas, De Niro. This is Doc's Name.
Didn't say he was better.
Money talks, bullshit walk, ass Chris. Oh yeah, the goodness is crazy.
Right, you're going to the good. You're going to the best record on there though, Mike. Right, Doc's Name wasn't like that. You know, it was just solid. It definitely wasn't the first 3. But what I'm saying is that Redman isn't that much better than Eminem, and I think that's more of a fair scope to have for Eminem. It's like in hip hop terms, it's like, well, he's closer to Redman, and Redman's usually in our top 15 to 20, which means Eminem would be 20 to 25, respectfully.
I think that growing up, maybe Redman was there. I think now it's a little bit, further back. Let me get to some of these super chats. Stephon Young with the super chat says, how do you feel about Pac's albums that came after his death?
I don't count those.
I don't really love those. They sound put together.
I wonder if Heaven Got a Ghetto.
I love that record, but for the most part, nah.
That was the one.
James Smith. Is this LL Cool J? Anyway, I think sometimes y'all forget that it was also Vibe, not Billboard, making the list. You're right. We got to put Vibe and give them the smoke, too. If it was just Billboard, M probably would have been over Nas and Doc. I don't know. I think Billboard had a lot of pull in there. I don't think Vibe had the major pull. Jay Short with the super chat says, is M the only lyricist from the mixtape era who doesn't have a mixtape? In the 90s and 2000s mixtapes and rhyming over other people's beats was where you proved to heads your lyrical skills. That's something that I feel like would impress me right now. And I know Eminem's not out here to impress Mike D from A2HH Live. But what would impress me right now is if M could actually jump on some Premier beats or any classic hip-hop beats and, catch wreck. Stuff that has rhythmic cadences, because I think that's where he kind of falls short too. And I think that's what makes him different than a lot of his contemporaries as well. I think he has a rhythm problem, in my opinion. Jonathan Coleman.
Sound like you're talking about somebody that's been okay. So, timing-wise, his timing on his first album isn't great. His rhythmic timing on these albums is pretty spot on, Mike.
Okay.
And these are Dr. Dre beats still.
They're kind of Dr. Dre beats.
Here we go.
These are different Dr. Dre beats than other people are getting. You got to admit that too. Like
that's fair.
Because when you get Dr. Dre on the Game or on 50, you're not gonna get wow 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 wow. You're not gonna get that.
Now, Mike, I got plans on going back to Cali.
I love Cali.
I've been fortunate to interview Chris the Glove, Hit Boy.
Shout out to them.
Hit Boy,
I love them.
David Kim.
Appreciate the love.
Armin, about to reach out to Jan Sport J's artist, AJ Snow. Yeah, we about to make Snow happen.
Let's get it.
You're not fucking up my aftermath.
No.
Cali,
this is me talking.
Be nice. This is ridiculous.
The words from Mike D just reflect Mike D's views. It doesn't even reflect the views of Recorded Hip Hop.
Shout out to Aftermath.
Or Coop. Shout out to Aftermath.
Up there in Sherman Oaks. I know where you niggas are.
Hopefully they got a brunch that we can go.
I just like to be welcomed with open arms.
Jonathan Coleman with the super chat says, "Waiting a year to respond, not a good look." We're gonna get to that because I think I'm gonna get to that on the next bars.
Of course you will.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, "Coop, M makes good albums. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but right. I think after the Eminem Show album, black folks were kind of over M's rhyme scheme. It's no hate."
I agree. And here's another thing that you're not considering: 8 Mile.
I think it's his best song as far as I'm concerned. Lose Yourself.
I mean, when you talk, this is what I mean when you're saying, oh, how about this? Oh, no, Kendrick don't have a Rabbit Run. No, he don't. Show it to me. You
don't think Mad City?
Not from beginning to end, just going,
Mad City's crazy.
Mad City's crazy, but but it's no, it's not Rabbit Run. That's what I'm saying on some rap shit.
What do y'all think of the chat?
On some rap shit? No, Rabbit Run.
I know we got Esquire in here. He's probably like, man, I don't know what to say. I'm an M fan and a Kendrick fan.
Rabbit Run is that shit. You talking about Lose Yourself. It's like, I don't even play Lose Yourself. I go to Rabbit Run. That's some rap shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, no, he got work. He done gave people work.
My favorite stuff from him is from that time period. I always talk about The Sauce on this show. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Sauce ended the Source magazine, in my opinion.
Right. So he's
growing up. It never mattered what color you was.
So he's got 8 Mile. He's got contributions to the Chronic 2001. He's got 3 great albums. He's got great guest appearances like Renegade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, no, he checks a lot.
He does. He does. And I'm not discounting that, but he ain't no top 10,
I don't think he's top 10 either.
Yeah.
But I think some of your disrespect is very problematic.
Well, I think some of his bars are just weak, and I think we don't really highlight that in the same way that we would do for others.
See, I told you now about his whiteness, where it has helped him is that no, I do feel like he is deified lyrically, maybe more than he should be.
Yeah,
it's like no, I don't think he's
because you're not Black Thought lyrically.
I was about to say, just like I said, I'd take Siegel over Thought and over Kiss. Well, lyrically, Thought and Kiss are better than M to me.
Yeah.
And always have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
36 Chambers with the super chat, $20 super chat, showing love. He says, M is interesting because he came from a broken home, abuse, and being poor, which is universally relatable subjects for many people, but wasn't able to connect to the Black experience, which limited him. I think it's also telling the fact that hip-hop is about the Black experience, regardless of what people want to think or how bad that sounds. I think that, his lack of connectivity wasn't based on anything that he didn't do. It was just the fact that his experience was catered towards more of an audience who wasn't a hip-hop audience.
A couple things. First of all, he did come around in a time when you still lived in what I like to call running back years. As in, a great career was going to be 5 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
He had that. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, he did legitimately have that. On every level, he legitimately had that. And this is what I mean. From record sales, the hit making, the quality songs.
Hit making?
The quality albums, whether you like it or not. Yes, hit making.
In the hip hop sphere. Because he has hits. I don't think they were hip hop hits though.
Okay,
I think that's what
Stan,
makes it
I think
different.
Stan is a hit. I think that's a hip hop song.
Think
Still,
so?
I do. I still consider that to be a rap song. Same thing with The Way I Am. Same thing with Guilty Conscience. Same thing with Cleaning Out My Closet. No, those are hip hop records.
Really?
Yeah, those are hip hop records, Mike.
I don't know, man. I was working in radio at that time, and I mean, it
Cleaning
just
Out My
never played
Closet was
this
on
stuff.
radio down here. Don't do that.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
They probably were forced to play it.
No. That record's dope, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's like, why are you doing this?
It's like, not. I'm sorry, Mama. You talking about that record?
Yeah, that record's dope.
I never meant to hurt you.
Yeah, Superman was dope. Yeah. No, he's.
Now I do remember hearing Superman, so that Cleaning Out My Closet.
Cleaning Out My
man.
Closet was getting played on the radio.
Cleaning Out My Closet.
See, this one.
How'd that
you
start
see how
off?
You mock him? You see how you mock him though?
But how'd the verse start off?
No. Do you see what you do?
That's
when
how
I
it
bring up?
goes.
No, but
That's how the song goes.
Well, who else do you do this to?
Nobody else stuff sounds like that. I'll do that to like Nicki or something.
You
like,
know what's crazy to me? Is that you two niggas like Donda and y'all are talking this shit about cleaning out my closet. You see what's
Donda way
wrong with
better
you
than
niggas?
Cleaning Out My
You
Closet.
see what's wrong with you niggas? You like Donda.
Well, hold,
Please
cool.
stay produced,
Let me ask
man.
you this. How does Cleaning Out My Closet go?
I don't listen to that shit either.
There we go. That's what I was trying to get out of you.
But I said that earlier. It's like, oh, it's not like that for me with him either. But that doesn't discount these songs and the work that he's done. It doesn't.
Okay.
See, this is what I mean. When I play the Eminem show, it's like, well, I don't play Cleaning Out My Closet. I play Till I Collapse. I play So What You Saying. Say What You Should Say. I don't even play Soldier like that. That's what I mean.
That's actually my favorite
But
song.
stop acting like he hasn't made these records, Mike. Like most rap guys haven't made these records.
Yeah, those records is I mean, they're good. I mean, they're not bad, but I wouldn't say like they're like, Trouble T. Roy or something like that.
No, it's not. But that's okay. And I agree with you on that.
Because when we talk about all time,
No.
I mean, we just had Only Built for Cuban Links conversation.
That's not fair.
It is fair. If a nigga talk about he number one or top five, that's fair. It is.
I mean, first of all, for somebody that's gotten the hoopla that he's gotten for as long as he's gotten it, I would expect him to speak with that bravado. This is still rap.
Yeah.
So
as he should.
So I have no problem with the bravado. It's just like
He's supposed to say that.
correct,
But we're supposed to critique that if that's out of line.
correct, and it's out of line
Yeah.
only from regards. It's like, well, part of the issue is that, well, you might be misplaced at number 5 in this sphere anyway.
Yeah.
And
you've always kind of been,
right.
over ranked, if you will.
Right. And so what I really think is that he's somebody that if you look at him in a 5 to 7 year gap at his peak, well, he was top 5-ish. And if you look at us in year 50, if you were to break that down incrementally, like in the 5 to 7 year gaps, no, that would put him in one of the top 50 MCs. You get what I'm saying?
He could get 50, yeah.
Because here's the thing about
He
it.
did
it's
too
like-
much to not be.
It's like you and I said. It's like, well, people really didn't start making like rap albums till like what?
87?
85?
Well, I mean, it was
Run
a
DMC rating.
yeah. I mean, Run
I'll say
DMC,
Run
DMC, Houdini,
So that's
LL,
Curtis Blow.
yeah, Curtis
So
Blow.
let's say 84.
Yeah.
I feel like 84 is fair. So we're in 2023. So that's only been about 29 years
Mm-hmm.
of album making. If he was top 5 for 5 to 7 years, no, he's about 20 to 25 to 30. And I think that's more fair in a hip hop context.
Oh, we got something from Esquire. We got some more super
Of
chats too.
course we did.
36 Chambers with a super chat says, with M's publications, with M publications, look at how he got non-hip hop fans interested in the game since he's a crossover artist. That's a factor we don't acknowledge. Should we acknowledge it though? It's like,
Yes.
it's almost like a golf purist talking about when Tiger Woods got me interested in golf for like a second. Like, does that really matter?
Yes, it does. Because Tiger Woods, for instance, took somebody like me, and now I'm a fan of golf, not just Tiger Woods.
Well, that happened too.
No, I
But
follow
there's
players.
also a lot of fluff, like myself, where I don't follow it anymore, but I followed it when
Right.
he was doing it.
Right, but it matters because Tiger took somebody young like me in 1997 when he won the Masters. It's like, no, I know who Brooks Koepka is, and Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, like Bryson DeChambeau. Like, no, I know them. I know what their games look like because I watch golf. I even played some a little bit before my daughter got involved in tennis and stuff. Like, so yeah, so like it does matter.
I think my experience with a lot of his fans that were introduced to hip hop via him, you have a mixed bag, right? You have some people who got into it and then they realized, you know what, the guy that brought me into this it's not really, the top of the top. And then you have the other ones that's like, he is the top of the top, and I don't care what anybody else says about anything. And all I know is D12, G Unit, and everything that comes from that tree,
G Unit.
36 Chambers of the Super Chat says, Chat mentioned that there's a lot of freestyles you can find on YouTube of M going off on classic beats with radio shows and interviews. Do that shit now. Talking about what record we talking about?
But you're acting like he can't though, Mike. And
I don't think he can.
But they just said that they're there. So
where they at?
No, why don't you look up what
I
the people
have.
said?
I do this.
Hip-hop for the people, so
I
you
do
know that
this.
he's rapped over these beats.
When? What beats? I don't know what he's talking about. I think I know what he might be referring to. People always bring up Dead Wrong. People always bring up one of the damn Sway freestyles from back in the day. It's like, God damn, man, it's 2023, man. Like, do we have anything like in the 2000s even?
Dead Wrong's a pretty great verse.
It's okay, man.
It's not okay.
It's okay, man. It's 7 different levels of devil worship.
There are several different levels to devil worship in horses' heads. That's how it goes. Not 7. There's several different levels to devil worship in horses' heads, human sacrifices, and animals. He's
cannibalism.
He's going crazy on there. His flow pattern and his breakdown.
The patterns are there,
sick.
but what is he really saying?
Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Well, so when he's saying, I got a lion in my pocket, you know what I'm saying? That's actually a Prince influence. Correct. So it's like he knows his shit. He was putting some shit together. Don't do that.
I got a 9 in my pocket, and baby, I'm just dying in the cocket.
Right. It's called Dead
Who's
Wrong.
ready for war? I'm ready for war. I got machetes and swords for anybody that said he was raw.
Yeah, my Uzi's as heavy as yours.
Yeah, you met me before.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that?
It's been a
That's
minute.
like 25 years ago.
I was in college like the first time. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, big one here.
But when we talk about other people like this, it's like, how about this, Mike? Like, you keep on bringing up they fucking reminisce over you. When did that fucking get made? Because what the fuck have they done since then on that level?
Brutus.
No. That's not they reminisce over you level.
Brutus is pretty great.
Brutus is great for this time. It is not they reminisce over you.
They reminisce over you is like a top 5, top 10 hip hop song all time. That verse you mentioned is not a top 10, top 20, or top 30 hip hop verse all time.
When you start talking about people's peak, it's like, oh, this is why I be bringing that shit up to you. It's like, oh, well, they reminisce over you and the world is yours. Got made when we were fucking teenagers.
But we bring up all time peaks. Like when we dealing with those peaks, those are all time great moments. And I don't think that his peak even has those all time great moments.
So you remember like Rather Unique and Give Me Yours?
Mm-hmm.
Like beat wise, Pete Rock, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You think that's his best stuff?
I don't think so.
That's kind of like where Eminem is, like with a lot of his stuff. It's like, oh no, the shit is dope. Is it they reminisce over you or the world is yours? It's like, no. Do you know how few people reach that level? Like song making wise, like quality wise, like really. Right.
But that's what the elite spots are for.
Correct. But like I said, I think his elite spot might be a little miscast if you want to talk elite for his era. Oh, yeah.
I don't think he was elite for his era.
I do.
Because we don't even think that he was better than Siegel. And Siegel wasn't.
I don't think any of these niggas outside of Jay-Z and Nas are better than Siegel at their peak. Hello.
You think he was better than DMX at that time period? There's no way we can say that.
No.
Yeah. That's elite. Yeah.
X is different.
No, that's elite.
X is different.
Yeah. If we talking about elite niggas in 99 to like 02, because that's what the area we're talking about when we're talking about peak Eminem, right? You're talking about 1999 to 2002.
So Mike, after Jay and Nas and Face and DMX, who you got?
Hold on, let me get some of these super chats real quick, and I'm going to answer that. Esquire with the super chat says, I'm not nearly the M fan that you make me out to be, Mike. I share your critiques, but like Coop, I can't deny that he was top tier at his peak, top 20, okay? Colin King with the super chat says, Dot did right for the whole TDE camp. That's the first I've ever heard of that. Don't do Schoolboy and J-Rock like that.
No, I mean, he did write Money Trees.
Oh, I do remember them saying that.
We got, there was a
There's a reference track.
There's a reference track for it. That Schoolboy shit, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah. Or Ab. Shout out to Ab, my personal favorite CDE.
Schoolboy's my favorite. I was actually thinking the other day, when Schoolboy dropping an album?
Right,
like,
Schoolboy out here chilling.
Big chilling.
Yeah. James Smith with the super chat says, no, this is not LL, but my uncle is Parrish from EPMD. I was close. Shout out to Paris Smith, man. We share the same a birthday with Pusha T and somebody else. Stevie Wonder, of course. Jay Short with the super chat says, I will never put M in my top 25 because he has a creative license no other rapper has ever been given. He gets to drive a Lambo in a street race. I understand what he's saying in a sense where Eminem can make a record like Stan and it gets put out as a single in the year 2000. You remember the singles that, let's just say a Nasir had to put out in 2000? You had to put out a Uchiwali to get, radio play. You had to put out a Nostradamus or You Owe Me to get radio play. If Eminem would have made Rewind, we would have seen a video for it. It would have been a motion picture for it. It would have been movies that were inspired by it. So I do get what Jay Short's saying here.
Got yourself a gun.
Yeah.
The blasphemy. Exactly.
So it's like, yeah, he did get a level of creative license, not only to create records that certain artists didn't get, motivated financially to create, but he also got support for those creative licensed records. And I do think that is a fair point.
You just can't take I'm sorry, just not too many guys have made 3 albums this good, made a soundtrack this good, contributed to culture on a multitude of levels like this. Put his motherfucking homies on, just like the rest of the brothers do. Mm-hmm. Like he's done a lot. Shade 45, giving back to the community of Detroit the way that he does. Top tier and top level MCing for his era. Like I said, who would you put above him after those 4 guys I named?
Oh, top MCs of that era.
Jay, Nas, Scarface.
In that era,
DMX.
DMX. I'm putting Ghost over him in that era.
You can't do that.
I'm
Ghost
putting Common over him in that era.
Ghost made one album in that era, and it's supreme. You're not giving him Mike.
So you're telling me in the year 2000 you got M over Ghost?
No, we're talking about a time period, Mike. We're talking from '98 to like 2003, right? Now, what did Ghost make from '98 to 2003?
From '98 to 2003, Ghost had Supreme Clientele. He had Bulletproof Wallets. And he came with the Pretty Tony LP. Yeah.
No, when the Pretty Tony LP?
Was that like 04 or something? Leroy Green with the super chat says, they playing Eminem outside of ATL. Is that hate? Out here, folks more likely to have Snoop over M. But that's not hate. M took the easy excuse. Let's see. Jay Short with the super chat says, people are talking about M's influence, but did anyone outside of M's immediate circle benefit from his presence? What do you think Eminem's overall impact or influence is outside of that camp?
Okay, Bulletproof Wallets is 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty Tony's 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And Supreme?
That's 2000. Stephon Young with the super chat says, Ludacris had a good peak around that time. He did. What would you say to that, though? That if somebody said, you know what, I got Ludacris over Eminem.
Albums and bars go to M. The albums and the bars go to them. The songs and the guest appearances would go to Luda.
Word of mouth? There's a lot of stuff on word of mouth.
It's not better than the Marshall Mathers LP or the Eminem show.
I think it's better than the Marshall Mathers LP, but I think the Eminem show is better. I do think Chicken and Beer is his best album.
Chicken and Beer is his best album end to end.
Straight up.
I think that's better than the Marshall Mathers LP, but not better than the Eminem show as well.
Okay. I think both of those are better than...
Conversational. How about this? This might be a fair landing spot realistically for Eminem is in that Ludacris territory maybe. Okay. That's why I said not too far off the Redman. Both of them are off the Redman tree.
Because they both do similar things.
Off the Redman tree.
Except for Luda's going to give you hit records and hip-hop, form.
What I mean. No.
And he does have the crossover ability. He has the flow, but I think Eminem has more intricate, stories, right? Like I think that he's more personable on that level.
Subject matter's better.
Yes, definitely.
It is.
Definitely.
Subject matter's better than Luda's. Yes.
Okay. Here was the other bar. We're gonna break this down, man. Then we're gonna talk about some other stuff. We're gonna talk about the groups or whatever. But, the Played in Clubs thing.
Oh yeah, no, you can't wait to do this.
Do you think that Eminem making it pretty much taking light the fact that, playing in clubs and getting played by DJs in hip hop is important. He said basically, and I think this is a shot at the game, or maybe some of some of the talking points that are out there is the fact that M doesn't have any songs to get played in the clubs. He said something, and I'm paraphrasing it. He said that, the only reason why you still get played in the clubs is because, you're still performing there. And do you think that it's a issue that he is making light in hip hop, how important it is to get played in the club? And how important is getting played in the club in hip hop?
Well, you kind of deal with the hand that you were dealt. And so because of the hand that he was dealt, what he's really doing on this verse is he's flaunting his hand. And that's what I mean is like, well, you can't knock him for flaunting his hand because it's like what he's letting you know is like, oh, no, this is strictly stadium flow over here. And in rap, you talk big shit like that. So it's like, let's not make it not okay for him to talk big shit because he is big shit.
No, he can do that.
Right. And so this is him talking big shit.
I'm just here to critique it.
No. And this is him talking big shit to somebody that's not as large, not as famous as him, that doesn't do the bigger venues than him. And he's reminding the other artists of that. It's like, if Jay were to do this, we would love this shit. That's what I'm saying. If Jay were to big boy somebody like this.
Because he's done it, though.
Like the shit on Ham when he's like keep it real with niggas. Niggas ain't got my lady money. Like, no, when Jay stunts on people like that, it's okay. When M does it, it's like, oh, we got to critique.
Well,
it
I think this is the thing. Is
it's not fair?
What I'm saying though, is it a flex to say that where hip hop really is born and where hip hop really thrives and where hip hop is alive, which is the streets. And you said this last episode to say that I'm bigger than that. Is that a flex?
That's what I'm saying. When our black artists say it, we don't take issue with it.
Who has said something like that? Because they get played in the club.
Jay have literally compared themselves to the Beatles, and we said nothing.
That's fine. What's wrong with them comparing themselves to the Beatles?
So they're talking about the level that they exist on and how big they are,
yeah,
correct?
Because of the work that they've done.
And that's Eminem doing the same thing right here.
But you're missing my point.
You're missing the overall point.
No, you're just taking it from a broad stroke of flexing. That's fine. But is it a flex to say that you don't get played in the club? Hip hop doesn't really embrace your music in areas where hip hop thrives, which is the streets and the club and the DJs.
And what he's saying is
that doesn't matter?
No, he's saying I don't need that to sell out my fucking stadium, so have fun with that. And
that's fine that you don't.
It is. That's what I'm saying is it's like, no, we can't sit up there and take issue with the fact that he's stunting on what he can stunt on. That's what rappers are supposed to do. So he's pretty much saying, oh, fine that I don't get played like in the club because guess what? This stadium still fucking sells out.
Well, yeah, he's going to sell.
So both things can be true.
Like he said, what he said, like Dubai, because the music they do buy.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that, Mike, both things can be true. It's like, oh, no, he cannot be getting played in these core hip-hop circles and in these inner city circles, which is why I would have some of the people that I have ahead of him, like a Black Thought or a Jadakiss. But he can still turn around and say, Jay, you motherfuckers ain't selling out no stadiums like me. And he can pull that card pretty much whenever he wants on anybody except for Drake at this point. Well, and so that's just a fact. And so when Drake pulls that card, it's okay. When Wayne pulls the card, it's okay. When Jay pulls the card, it's okay. Well, then guess what? It's okay when Eminem pulls the card,
But they've done things that he doesn't do. They get played in hip-hop spots.
Well, that's because they're black men who disseminate the black experience of black males in a more relatable fashion than Eminem. That's what I'm saying is like, oh no, his whiteness has helped him, but it has hurt him. So you're speaking to a part of it that's hurt him. He is speaking to the part that has helped him. He's like, oh no, I know that, I don't relate and they don't play me because I don't relate necessarily as much. The stadium still fucking sold out.
He's going to sell out everywhere.
Correct.
He's a pop star.
And so he stunted on it. And it's like, it's okay to stunt. This is rap. It's literally it comes in the handbook. You must stunt and ball on these motherfuckers when they try you. It's
I just think it's very interesting that
in the handbook, Mike.
He kind of doesn't play in the rap field, right? Because again, I say this because we're talking about arenas that play hip hop music. So the clubs don't matter for him. He doesn't need that. The fact that he doesn't need that lets you know that he's playing on a whole different field, right? Yes. And so he doesn't need that. He doesn't even need urban radio, Coop. Like, you understand that? Like, he don't need Hot 97. He don't need any of this stuff. He's doing what he does anyway. But when it comes to these hip hop lists, you want to double back and be like, oh, you know what? Well, I should be ranked here, 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 because contemporary hit radio, pop stations, they celebrate me. I sell out stadiums where the audience really might not be a hip hop audience, but those numbers should put me ahead of everybody in hip hop who actually has to cross these barriers, who actually has to go get records broken from DJs and clubs, who actually have to go through Hot 97, who actually have to deal with Flex, who have to deal with Clue, who have to deal with all of these things. But, I'll just skip the line. It's cool.
Mike, he does, quote unquote, descend down from his pop star status and stratosphere to do rap shit like this record he just did, though. It's like you can't ignore that part of it. That's what I'm saying. For whatever you're saying about him as a pop star, which might be true, it's like that's the formula for his solo career. No, he descends upon us and does rap shit.
You think this is some rap shit? You think this is going to get played?
This song is some rap shit, for one. It's definitely not an Eminem record. It's definitely not that. It's definitely not your typical Eminem record. Yes, this is some rap shit. B, he does rap shit. That's why I brought up Renegade. Forgot about Dre writing The Watcher. What you'll notice is that he actually has his hip-hop moments when he's around the other guys. When it's just him, he has to feed the machine. When he's with
It's very Nicki-ish.
Fair critique.
And we critique her for it.
I said fair critique.
Mm-hmm.
Very fair critique. First of all, she's not the lyricist that he is, the song maker he is, or the album maker that he is.
I think she's a better hit maker than he is, in my opinion.
He done made more rap hits than her. Stop that.
Let me get to the super chat. Jay Short says, if M made Daughters instead of Nas, it would have been the biggest selling hip hop song of all time, and it would be in movies.
Correct. That is correct.
36 Chambers of the super chat says, we applaud club play because that was the barometer 20 years ago. Club play doesn't matter as much now in the streaming era. It's arenas and stadiums. I do think that clubs still matter when it comes to hip hop. I do. And I guess it depends on who you're asking. And yeah, I think clubs still matter. People are always going to go out.
I mean, part of my job is that, we do a live DJ on Sundays.
That's like saying DJs don't matter.
Well, that's what I mean. I've actually had to go outside, Mike, about looking for DJs and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, the club still matters because it's like I've slid in some late to check the DJs out.
Exactly.
I got
to say clubs don't matter is to say DJs don't matter.
Oh no, one of the DJs that I've been kind of procuring actually came into the spot like to holler at me the other day because I slid in his space. And me, Mike, I walked up to DJ Bill. I'm like, who are you? Call me.
36 Chambers of the super chat says, we also can't be saying M doesn't hold up the culture high or trying to say that he's bigger than hip hop. He always seems to be invested in it.
He does. That's why Shade 45. 50.
Yeah.
No, 50.
He signed 50. It was a great business move. I think anybody in that position should have made that move.
Mike, that's some bullshit.
And shout out to 50.
50 had been blackballed, Mike.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
He is talented, though.
Talented out the ass, Mike.
We talk about the hook game.
We just had this blackball conversation.
Yeah.
Mike.
I don't agree with blackballing people.
It's different when you've been blackballed, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
And shout out to 50. I think he might be the biggest comeback story ever in hip hop.
Oh,
incredible story. I want to see a 50 biopic.
No, not even a question. It's the biggest comeback ever.
Incredible.
Yeah. From going to where, imagine you coming up around Onyx and all that, and then you get plugged up to Nas, and then all of that falls apart.
He kept going. Get shot.
And then
And the label drops you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you got niggas you got niggas in key places that are blackballing you in your own city. It's incredible
From
what
your
he
neighborhood.
did.
People in your neighborhood.
It's incredible what he did.
People in your neighborhood, even after you make it, are still trying to have you murdered.
Jay Short with the super chat says, when M says I don't get played in clubs, he meant I don't need grassroots hip hop. I got a non-black fan base. That was a diss towards us. I could see that. What do you feel about that?
That's because he's white. If a black person that doesn't have a grassroots hip hop, how about this, Mike? Do you hear somebody like Chance the Rapper or Kid Cudi shit in the club? Because I never do. Okay, so if they were to make that comment,
I don't think anybody listens to Chance the Rapper anyway.
Stop that.
Not anymore.
Okay.
That was 8 years ago or something.
I'm just giving an example. I'm just giving an example of people who may not have the most organic or grassroots type of following.
The Kid Cudi got a real following now.
He got a real following, but like I said, do his shit be playing in the club?
Nah. I think Kid Cudi tapped into something different, man.
But what I'm saying is if he were to make this comment, it would be okay.
It would be real.
It would be okay.
You know, I remember A$AP Rocky saying that about hip-hop. I mean, not hip-hop,
his whiteness already
New York
works
radio.
for him in a lot of wonderful ways, and it also works against him in a myriad of ways. Let's not make this one of the things. This ain't one of the things. The motherfucker's selling out stadiums. Mike, if I was selling out stadiums, I'd be letting you know way more often than he does about these stadiums that I'm selling out.
And that's fine.
I would be making motherfuckers feel that shit.
But if it's like that, though, cool, why does he even care about being on any list? Do like Flo Rida does. Flo Rida just collects his bread.
He's not. See, this is what I'm saying. This is why I fuck with him. No, he's competitive still, Mike. He still cares.
He can't compete.
He's involved in the culture. I'm sorry. He's more involved in the culture than most of these guys that you're talking about.
You know, for me, it feels like his competitive fervor comes from the fact that he's supposed to be number one on everybody's list, and it didn't work out like that.
No,
there were no complaints when he was getting held high. You know what I'm saying?
He's really competitive and inherently. No, Mike,
the
he's
work,
just competitive.
The work doesn't speak competitive to me. It you know, when you look at the albums that he's dropped since the Eminem show, he don't sound competitive.
See, that's what I'm saying. See, you're talking about the solo albums.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm telling you is like, no, that is him feeding the machine. The rap shit is on all the guests. It's on Get Rich or Die Trying, on Don't Push Me. These are my ideas. It's my sweat and tears.
I think his competitiveness from track to track really comes from what Nas said on Ether. I think Nas put a battery in his back with the whole, you know, Eminem murdered you on your own shit. And I will say this, when Nas said that, that wasn't meant like, yo, Cool G Rap murdered you on your own shit. Or, you know what I'm saying, like DMX murdered you on your own shit. He like, you let this guy murder you on your own shit?
No, that's not how he meant it.
That's how I took it.
It's 2001, Mike. It's 2001 when this is happening. There's no way you can feel this way in 2001. It's like Eminem's not an afterthought lyrically in 2001.
Listen,
sorry.
man.
When he's saying Eminem murdered you on your own shit, he's saying, like, if you the best, why you let the other people that are thinking that is the best, you know, fade your ass like that?
I didn't even think.
And speaking of which, I'm better than the both of you.
You know what the conversation was in, like, man, like, what was this, 10th grade?
And Eminem did get him.
The conversation was,
not by a lot.
Who's better, Drag On or Eminem? It wasn't.
That is not.
It wasn't DMX.
I don't ever recall having that conversation.
I had those conversations. DMX would be out of the question.
I never had those conversations.
So you thought Eminem was better than DMX at that time?
No.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
I was going to say, that was the bar. That was the level.
I'm saying,
you ain't Method Man.
Drag On? You bugging.
Yeah, it was like, you know, he was better than Drag On.
So disrespectful.
James Smith with the super chat said, a little history. My pops used to drive to the Bronx from Brentwood in 1978 to bring Bambaataa to Long Island and perform before anyone knew what hip-hop was outside of the boroughs. Long live hip-hop. Shout out to James Smith, man. We need to have you on the show, man. We got to do like a call-in type of thing, man, because we got like people with rich history over here.
Right. We need to get our producers.
Yeah.
Get our screens up so we can do some interviews.
We working on
it.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, M is saying that he gets played in Dubai and Japan, so he's bigger than the black neighborhood. That's great. We salute expansion, but those black areas are the source and the cultural expansion.
I get that, but this is what I'm saying. In rap, you flex on what you have, right? So he's flexing on what he has. That's what I'm saying.
Numbers.
Right. But
popularity, that's all he got.
But in rap terms, do you not flex? And are you not supposed to keep it real with what your flex is? He's being honest about what his flex is.
Numbers.
Honest.
Streams.
But it's honest. Is it correct, though? It's not, because here's the thing. If he were to lie to us, we would be taking it whole nother fucking type of way. Be like, see how he thinks he can just say anything to us?
I think when he has to harp on his numbers, you kind of lose there, you know?
You know how I feel? I've always told you, Mike, it's like if you have to talk about numbers, then you probably lost. Mm-hmm. And I've always said that.
Yeah.
But his flex.
It's different for him.
No, it's not different. I mean, it's kind of, how about this? It's not just different for him. In terms of the numbers, well, it's different for a few people. It's different for him. It's different for Kendrick. It's different for Wayne. It's different for Drake. It's different for Jay. It is different for those
guys don't have to go there, though, because they got a catalog.
But what's funny about it, Mike, when you say that, all those fucking guys go there, though.
Not all the time.
Mike, Drake been living there for the past decade. Have you not been listening?
Did he go there on Meltdown?
Future talks. Oh, Mike, these niggas talk big shit about how much bigger they
do,
are than everybody else.
But when it comes to competitive fervor, though,
Mike, all the time they do it, and we don't say anything.
Did Drake do that on Back to Back?
No,
he didn't have to.
No, not on Back to Back.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to go there. Like,
but
I don't feel like he did that on Meltdown either.
mean. But he kind of did stun a little bit when he said, "Is that a what? Is that a world tour?"
Or your girls tour.
Or your girls tour.
That was a point at him. He didn't say, I'm doing this, and this, and you're doing this, and this.
You're not looking at who's saying it, though. Now, who usually co-headline a tour with Nicki?
Yeah.
Drake.
Yeah.
Drake. So he letting them know it's like, oh, you're not on my level, so you're definitely not even on her level, because I was the headliner when we was touring together. Hello.
Jonathan Coleman with the super chat.
Flex. That's a big flex.
Jonathan Coleman with the super chat says, do you guys think Snoop peaked after his first album? I think things changed for Snoop. I don't think so. Honestly, you know what?
It's the murder case.
This is what I'm going to say about Snoop. I think Snoop actually became a better overall artist after his first album.
I agree.
The game just changed, and he no longer had Dr. Dre. That's how powerful Dr. Dre is as a producer and as an overall arranger. And the fact that he lost the Death Row family, he's going after that murder trial, Pac died, Big's gone. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, but the fact that he was able to bounce back eras later and make a rhythm and gangster. I think he's a more rounded artist, so I don't think he peaked
make
there.
All that possible?
Master P?
Yay.
Yeah. And I think that the fact that he kept going and kept evolving, I think he became a more rounded artist. So to say he peaked at Doggy Style, I would disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Master P and Snoop getting together is the most understated thing in hip-hop history.
It's one of them.
No,
I agree.
It is the number one most understated thing, because nobody that big had ever went somewhere different like that.
You're right.
Before.
Yeah.
That
it's a big move for both of them.
Before.
Yeah.
And also, too, nobody had been challenged musically like that before. And so it's like, are those Snoop Dogg No Limit albums like that? Well, not really, but towards the end, they just started getting so much better because he was starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
He figured out his career all over again in front of us live with Master P's help.
And shout out to Master P for having the foresight to get it done, to give game. And shout out to Snoop for humbling himself to the point to do it. Because Snoop Dogg at that time, the biggest rapper in the world, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Like, didn't have no damn money.
Yeah, and he could have just been like, you know what, I'm too big to go to this down south record label, yada, yada. He went and did it, thrived in it, and became better. And so, yeah, I wouldn't say that Snoop peaked at Doggy Style.
Right.
I think he grew.
By the time he was leaving No Limit, he was making shit like Lay Low and yeah.
And shit, really, if you want to be honest about it, his presence in 2001 and him being a better artist in 2001, or not in 2001, for 2001 was a big benefit to Aftermath Entertainment. If Snoop was washed, Chronic 2001's not the same, and that's the truth. Their rollout's not the same, the album's not the same, and shit, without that album, Aftermath ain't the same.
It's no Chronic 2001 without Snoop Dogg.
It is not. It is not. It looks more like Aftermath Presents without Snoop Dogg, if we're being honest.
It's not that bad, but I hear you.
But you know what I mean. The real Leonard Washington, shout out to him with the super chat, says, Coop. He says, Coop, he can stunt with the stadium flow. The problem lies when he says that he turned hip-hop into a mansion, like he did it by himself. We'll go to that line then. We'll go to that line. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Mike, I'm not an M fan, but Wu don't play in clubs. Yeah, they do. And they definitely don't play on the radio, but none of that takes away from their greatness. I've heard Cream in the club. I've heard Ice Cream in the club.
Shay Lagos.
Yes, I've heard Shay Lagos in the club.
Be there for
I've
you.
heard I'll Be There For You. I've heard Bring the Pain in the club. I have.
heard Brooklyn Zoo and Shimmy Shimmy Y'all.
Exactly,
I
I
still hear
have.
Shimmy Shimmy Y'all in the club.
Yeah. So I don't.
I just listened to a DJ 2 weeks ago.
I've also heard METHOD man in the mix and stuff. So yeah, I don't think that's accurate. Exactly, I don't think that's accurate.
Been played in the club.
Okay.
Triumph definitely been played in the club.
Okay, so this is the line that Leonard Washington's talking about. I'm a guest in the house, but I turned that bitch into a mansion. Do you have a problem with that line? Because I think that's the one that kind of jumped out for a lot of people.
How inaccurate is the statement?
I think it's highly inaccurate.
Okay.
I think that hip hop was thriving before and after him.
No. This is what I mean. How many diamond artists did we have before Eminem?
It's a good question. I think before that you had the people who were like, I think Hammer went diamond. I think the Beastie Boys may have went diamond.
I don't think the Beastie Boys went diamond.
I think License to Ill did go diamond or close to it. It was fast selling album.
I think it went. First of all, I think License to Ill went like triple or quadruple platinum, like with it initially. And so when I'm saying going diamond, it's like, no, I don't mean like going diamond over a 10, 20-year period. I mean like the shit going diamond in a year or two.
What do you think is more significant when it comes to, I guess, the building of hip-hop economics? Do you think it's the record sales or do you think it's the touring?
Record sales built record company. Touring built artists. So if we're talking about the music business, it's record sales. If we're talking about the artist, it's touring. But the touring and how you get budgeted for the touring is going to be based on what?
Record sales.
But
the big time tours in hip hop, a lot of the guys collectively came together. You got the Get Fresh tour, right? You got Hard Knock Life tour. What's Eminem's contribution when it comes to touring in hip hop?
It's pretty damn big, Mike. I mean, because he's been one of the biggest tour artists when he has toured. Like when he
What tour are we talking about?
I mean, the one that comes to mind is probably Up in Smoke.
That's Dre. At the time, he only had.
It's easy for you to say
no,
that.
he only had the Slim Shady LP out at that time. So
that was still quadruple platinum, Mike.
Yeah, but it was that tour was about like, Dre. No, that
triple in like 2 months.
That tour was about Dre, Snoop, and Cube coming together.
Okay.
He was a new guy. I mean, let's just keep it real. I'm talking about building a mansion. He wasn't the guy on that tour.
How about this? I had never seen what really happened when the Marshall Mathers LP came out.
What was the tour for that? Because I think he was touring with like Papa Roach and Limp Bizkit and stuff at that time.
I feel like that's correct. I do remember like.
So I don't know if that's hip hop contributions per se.
No,
it's more rock rap.
First of all, the album's getting released under the title hip hop, and the Marshall Mathers LP is not a pop album, Mike. It's not. It's a rap album. Because the guy's rapping on there. That's what makes it a rap album.
Fergie raps.
You see how disrespectful you are, though?
Fergie raps.
Mike.
She does.
So during this conversation, this is what I mean, Mike. You making it so hard. You brought up Fergie. Y'all talking about Crooked Eye, cannabis. What the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, for real, Mike.
But I'm just saying, just rapping isn't enough. I'm just saying, she raps.
But listen
you said rapping was enough.
But you don't put any respect on it. You go to Fergie.
Okay. She's a pop artist. He's hard to compare.
Eminem, the Eminem Show. You don't think that's a rap album? You don't think the Marshall Mathers LP is a rap album?
I think that
those rap albums were selling like 1 million records in a week.
They were selling a whole lot.
And no disrespect to Dre, but it's like the mansion that Dre is living in. Yeah. The mansion that Jimmy Iovine's living in.
Oh, yeah, it did great.
The mansion that's 50's living in.
Yeah.
And The Game and everybody else around. Yeah. And if Interscope is who they are, Mike, yes, this is the guy. This is the tipping point of that. Yes.
Okay.
So when he's saying I built the mansion, it's like, oh, yeah, like Interscope is different from the point that he signs. Yes.
Oh, yeah. No. As far as Interscope goes, I don't think there's any debate, but I think we're talking about hip hop as a whole, though.
I mean, who really runs like the music business on the hip hop side better than Interscope has since you've been a hip hop fan?
Oh, man, I think I missed some of these super chat. I think I missed somebody's super chat. 36 Chambers with the $20 super chat says, M doesn't say that he built hip hop himself. That's stunting talk. He always highlights his contemporaries and spoke openly about his love and respect for other MCs. M's verse was a shot back at the exact conversation here.
It was.
Uh,
I told you, Drake and Future like live in this. You niggas don't got no stadium flow. Like they live in that arena, Mike.
but they got club flow too, though. Like he doesn't have that.
Hate to be the one
But
to break it
again,
to
I
you,
mean,
their club flow is old too, Mike. They ain't got no new shit to be burning up the
but
club.
he doesn't have any new or old shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you, but it's like when you talking about Drake and Future and then burning up the club, it's like, oh no, March Madness was burning up. When I went and saw that DJ that I reached out to, March Madness was one of the records he played, Mike, and it tore the club up. It's like, what time? When March Madness? What year?
Yeah, it was a while back.
Okay, like Drake and Future. Ain't
But again,
no
that's prime talk.
They got equity in the club that M don't got, but it's like when they talk their stadium flow, nobody says a word. We got to let him talk his stadium flow too, because he earned that stadium flow even if it wasn't by the channels that we like.
Leroy Green with the super chat
Better
says,
than
cool.
Don.
M flexed is status. I'm sorry, M flexed is status. And it's cool because we just going to ignore hip hop had 20 icons and legends that circled the globe before M came in the door. I think that is kind of a deceptive line. I mean, I get what he's saying. It's a flex and everything, but, you know, hip hop was reaching incredible heights before.
Everybody gets to inflex or embellish except for the white boy. That's what y'all are saying. It's kind of funny how, like, you know, I told you, Mike, black men, we will behave like our oppressors. It's like when we sit up there and have conversations about the white MC or women, the stuff that I be hearing, I be like, okay. We got a long way to
Well, how
go.
do you differentiate that from actually protecting your culture? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's acting like an oppressor. It's nothing that I can sit here on this microphone and do to oppress Eminem and his incredible career. But I do think that, you know, certain things can get blurred if you just allow people to rewrite rules. We talked about this when it came to Drake and his battle with Pusha T, where they were trying to kind of rewrite the rules when, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you got to bring that stuff out.
Fair. But what I would submit to you is that what we don't have to do is we don't have to, because the skew is wrong on this angle, doesn't mean we should slide it back down all the way hard on our side to make it work, because if this skew is wrong, two wrongs truly don't make a right. So what I'm trying to say is that when Leroy's bringing up Crooked Eye and you're bringing up Cannabis, it's like you guys are so wrong. It's ridiculous.
Well, listen.
That's the same thing that they're doing there on the other side that we're taking issue with. And you just referenced Fergie. It's like, no, that's wrong.
You're taking what I'm saying out of context. I didn't compare Eminem to Fergie, or I didn't compare him to Cannabis. I compared the fact that sometimes we don't look at the catalog and we allow ourselves to be skewed by the fact that, okay, this person had a better verse than that person, like we did in the Cannabis era. Now, obviously, Cannabis hadn't made the albums that Eminem's made, right?
Okay,
and when it comes to the Fergie thing, you know, you mentioned the Marshall Mathers LP, and I'm saying that he didn't do any hip-hop tours for this. You said it's a hip-hop album because he rapped on the album. I'm just saying Fergie actually rapped on her albums too, but that doesn't mean that they're rap albums. You got to do a little bit more than that. It's a culture. I mean, that's what we're even celebrating Hip Hop 54. There's a lot of elements in this thing that comprise hip hop and make hip hop what it is. What Debbie from Blondie was doing on Rapture, yes, she was rapping, but was that really on some real rap shit? I mean, you got to do more than just rap. That's all I'm saying.
No, you don't, Mike.
You don't?
That's one of the most absurd things that I've heard.
You got to do more than just rap.
For a rap album to be considered a rap album, you know what you have to do on the album? Rap. That is why it's called a rap album, because the person on the album is rhyming, not singing, not chanting. It's not acoustic or instrumental. It's rapping. He is rapping on the Marshall Mathers LP in a manner that when you reference Fergie, you are being disrespectful. I don't care how you're trying to put it. It's disrespectful, and this is what I mean.
Fergie got some bars.
No, she don't. She don't got no bars. Psychologically speaking, this is what I'm saying. I'm watching you and Leroy go to a place that is in a place of discrediting him. Like, off your train of thought. That's what I mean, is that what we're doing now is almost as bad as what's been done to us. It's like, oh, so our train of thought is taking us to Cannabis and Crooked Eye and Fergie when we're talking about this guy. At that point, when those are the names coming out of black men's mouths, it's like, yes, we are being unfair to the white rapper.
Well, who should we be talking about?
I brought up Redman. I brought up Ludacris. Correct.
I think
I didn't bring up no damn Fergie
I think
or Cannabis or Crooked Eye.
I think Redman is much better. Not a ludicrous thing.
Redman might be better. He's not much better, Mike. You don't have like enough evidence to say that.
I got Muddy Waters.
That's what I'm saying. That's
I got There's
evidence.
a Dark Side.
There's a Dark Side isn't that much better than the Eminem show. It's like
really?
No, it's not.
Oh, I want to make sure I ain't missing any of these super chats so we can get on to the next thing. I know it's 2:00 already.
Happens fast.
It does happen fast. Jay Short with the super chat says, I predicted this years ago. Now they're saying that M is the most influential artist ever. 50 years from now, they'll tell us that he created it. Stop this now.
He's not that, but we don't have to break him down to the level of Fergie and Cannabis. Definitely greater than that.
CJ Kidd says, Mike, M headlined the Anger Management Tour. I remember that. Remember they came to Atlanta.
Yeah,
that was 06 with Shady and G Unit, Mobb Deep, MOP, Mace. With G Unit at the same time too. Yeah, that was 06. This was a little bit past his prime. So in his prime, though,
he's iconic by that time.
He is, but I think at that time he could definitely. You don't think that it benefits him to tour with the MOP G Unit when you're kind of like on a decline and you're not, you know what I'm saying, the pop, you know, darling that MTV had in a certain era, and now you could tour with these guys, and you know it kind of helps. When he was in 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, where are the hip hop tours?
Hold on, let's pause for a second, Mike. You think that Eminem is on tour with MOP and Mobb Deep and G Unit, and Eminem's the one that's benefiting from that tour more than them?
I think everybody's benefiting. Now, I'm not saying who's benefiting more. I think obviously, I think obviously financially they're benefiting, you know, a lot,
they're
right?
Not even going on that tour if Eminem doesn't exist, Mike.
I think
no tour.
It won't be the Anger Management Tour, but they're going on a tour.
What I'm saying, there is no tour because if Eminem doesn't exist, there is no 50.
You don't think so? You don't think 50 would have found a way?
Not in the capacity that we're talking about, which means there is no G Unit, which means there is no 50 signing MOP, which means there is no 50 signing Mobb Deep, which means none of this happens without Eminem. So when you were trying to make it seem like he's the benefactor from being around them, that's what I'm trying to tell you about his contributions, Mike. No, those guys are the benefactor from what he did, not the other way around.
But you don't think? I understand that, and I think that's you can look at that on the surface very easily and say, obviously, Eminem's big as he is, sold as many records as he has, and these guys are given the opportunity to go on tour with somebody like that. That's a huge opportunity for them. But at the same time,
literally
can you not
for fans that don't know who they are?
Exactly. But can you also see how him being around them actually helps him from a credibility standpoint? And obviously, he cares about these things, or we wouldn't even have a verse like The Realest, right?
Correct. Mike, when you say that, this is the part about it that sounds absurd, though. You're talking about MOP and Mobb Deep and G Unit. Like this motherfucker didn't get signed by Dr. Dre himself, Mike. What the fuck is being around MOP and Mobb Deep and G Unit gonna do for Eminem?
The streets.
Listen, Mike, who got signed by Dr. Dre and then in turn got signed by 50, and you're talking about MOP and Mobb Deep and G Unit. Hell
the streets.
Mike.
It gives you street credibility.
Is absurd, Mike.
Is it?
It is.
And it also gives you more co-signers too, because obviously we know having co-signs really helps the argument for a lot of his fans.
Mike, when Dr. Dre co-signs, Mike, I've been saying this for years about Eminem specifically. When Dr. Dre co-signs you, that is all you need in this business.
Is it?
Yes. He is the
I think
proof.
he needed more.
Mike,
that's why we got 50.
Mike, he's proof positive that that's all you need. He literally went quadruple platinum off the strength of Dre's name.
Well, he's going to sell, but I'm talking about like...
He went quadruple platinum off the strength of Dre the first time because Dre had found
Of course.
Dre co-signed him, and we wanted to see what Dre had cooking.
Of course.
So when you're talking about MOP and Mobb Deep and G Unit, understand that does nothing for Eminem.
So why do you think he did you think he just did it for the love?
I think that Eminem's contributions to this culture is greater than a lot of the black MCs we talk about. And you're talking about some of the contribution right here as if he's not the main contributor, as if he's not the one that made that happen. Dre didn't make that whole Aftermath, Shady, Interscope thing. Eminem made that happen, Mike. There is no tour without Eminem making it happen.
Well, see again, I
They are the other
I hear
people are the
what you're
main
saying.
benefactors. Like, no, it doesn't work like on some symbiotic thing where it's balancing back and forth. It's like, no, those guys were main benefactors of it. The only thing it got him was a little bit more cred. But how when you already signed 50 and Dre's already co-signed you? What more
Exactly.
credibility do you need?
Well, I mean, those guys are your artists. So you got to go out there on tour with them, or you should. And I think at the time, we got to look at it. '06, he really wasn't popping like that. And it's very evident, too, that when he was on the top of the pop world, he wasn't doing hip-hop tours.
So this is what I'm saying. But he's not on top, but only in rap terms. In terms of the ability to sell out a stadium or arena,
Yeah.
yes, he's very much still on top. And so it benefits those other artists.
Yeah, and he's not making the best music
He
at the
had
time.
enough money to retire. So no, it's not benefiting him to be around them and go on that tour. He can go sell out these same stadiums without all of them. They cannot go sell out those stadiums without him. To make it seem like he's a benefactor of any of that after 50 and Dre, no.
You don't think so?
No,
Okay.
not even a little bit.
Dot with the super chat says, is One Mic a top 5 hip-hop song all time? No, not to me. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, I brought up Crooked Eye, Elzai, Royce, and Tech 9 to say technical ability doesn't automatically mean black folks are going to say that you're the GOAT, one of the GOATs.
That's fair. I didn't say, but he's not one of the GOATs to me. But it's like, yeah, some of the conversations getting skewed the other way, and I don't like that either.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mike, whenever someone has a point, you take the yeah, but what about stance. The goalpost moving is crazy. For most MCs, if they had this career, we wouldn't have these sentiments.
Correct.
No objectivity. The objectivity comes from the music, right? And I want to be very clear here. And I think that obviously it's a very different situation. And never have we really seen somebody in hip hop who doesn't really get hip hop play get placed so high. And we said that about Nicki too. So I'm not moving any goalposts. No, I said the same exact thing on this microphone about Nicki. I said Nicki made a choice to make more pop music. So when it comes down to these rankings, she's going to suffer because her music doesn't line up with her other hip hop peers. And I feel the same way here.
I think there is some connective tissue, and I think those artists do mirror each other in a lot of ways from the respects that you're speaking about. We just have to be mindful of it because even when we're doing it with the Nicki thing, it's like, oh, well, you may not know this, but like Eminem's done way more rap shit, like way more rap shit than Nicki. Way.
Esquire with the super chat says, I agree, Coop. Moving the scale to the other extreme to compensate for M being overrated is just as bad as overrating him. Yes, his last dope LP was 20 years ago, but he solidified in his 5 to 7 year peak. See, even increasing the peak. No, the peak is 99 to 2002. Like, that's what it is. There's no 5 to 7 years. It's 99 to 2002.
When did the Eminem show and 8 Mile come out, Mike?
2002. DFW Herbie with the super chat says Duffy is over greater than Adidon. It was lyrically better. Pusha was just gossiping like a hoe. Very little bar work. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, Coop, your audio is low in comparison to Mike.
It's propaganda from the producer. Yeah.
Trying to silence Coop over there. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, we definitely know who Mike is rooting for in the Alabama Riverfront Brawl. Yeah, you can already see that, I guess. You want to talk about some all-time groups, man? I mean, because we could stay on this forever. Maybe I need to do like a separate video about this because this took up way too much time.
No.
And I still feel like I got more to say.
No, and I do too. We just, I do echo a lot of Esquire's sentiments. Like, we can't audit the process the wrong way because it got audited the wrong way the first time and kind of made these conversations occur.
I feel like we got to, well, this is my belief system. I got to be extreme as the other side is being, right? To balance this thing out, because if I'm not, then they'll take the kindness for weakness and continue to steamroll over.
I think as journalists, though, like, I think what we can do to change the narrative is to be fair and be consistent. That's why it's like, I tell people, it's like, oh no, he's not top 10, he's top 25. I think if more people will start just saying it with accuracy, I think his catalog, not perpetually rotating in the rap sphere as time has gone on, has made that a more viable claim that it should have been to begin with. And so I just want more realistic expectations for it. He's all-time great because this is the reality of the matter. His hip-hop is about to celebrate, its 50th year in existence technically this upcoming weekend. Well, he's a top 50 MC. That makes him all-time great. I think he's even higher than that. He's not in the 40s or even probably the 30s. And if he is in the 30s, he's in the low 30s. And so, no, that makes him all-time great. Just not like an epicenter like people outside of this culture try to make him.
Okay. Jay Show with the Super Chat says, how can I be objective with an artist who is allowed to be non-PC as Eminem? Look at Elton John's reaction to M's verse versus the baby. M got to diss a whole community and got a pass. I think that's fair too. And I've said that on this show.
He's gotten away with a lot. And you want to know who's been the first person to say that he's gotten away with a lot? Him. He's never ducked that.
Well, see, this is the thing. And Chuck D tweeted this, and it kind of grinds my gears when people always do this. And I love Chuck D. But I'm tired of people always making it seem like just because he acknowledges something, then that means it's not a problem anymore. You know what I mean? Like, no, cool, you acknowledge it. It's still a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, a motherfucker can acknowledge that they need to lose weight. He still got to lose weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, just because he acknowledges it, it doesn't totally take everything away from it. Like, oh, it's not a problem. He acknowledges it. Who cares? It's what it is. It's a problem.
No, I like acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he uses it as a pass,
because acknowledgement is accountability. And here's what the accountability.
I don't think there's any accountability with his acknowledgement.
That's why I keep on reminding you. It's like, well, he's done more for this black hip hop community than most of the black artists taking part in it. So when you say that, you're not correct. Ain't nobody. How about this? Hey, everybody.
I think it's compensation.
Newsflash, who put 50 on? Because it damn sure wasn't none of the black people in the industry that knew 50 existed literally 5 years before the fucking album came out.
But you know what, Coop? And this is how I feel, and I think this is where
Dr. Dre.
This is where you and I differ. You feel like he's doing that for the love. I feel like he's doing that to compensate. I do. I feel like Shade 45, compensation. I feel like signing 50, and you know what I'm saying? I feel like compensation.
What about his rhetoric? Not his color. What about his rhetoric makes you say that? Because nothing about his rhetoric speaks to that.
When he had the bandanas on and stuff once G-Unit came aboard and all of that, I do think that it was some compensation.
Bandanas before G-Unit.
Was he?
He's in the Up in Smoke tour wearing bandanas, Mike. Stop that. That's way before G-Unit.
I think he needed some people to...
he's actually in one of Dr. Dre's videos wearing a bandana. Like,
I don't remember that.
He's in some of his early photo ops wearing a bandana. He's from fucking Detroit.
Yeah, he is. Well,
yeah, niggas
I gotta ask the Detroit.
Like motherfuckers from '90s in Detroit, wear bandanas because they're big Tupac fans in Detroit. Mike, Pac has a big following in Detroit. So
well,
he was wearing bandanas long before G-Unit, Mike. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
and that's still, Mike, and that's still not enough to say that. Because Shade 45 and 50 and the people 50 have bought in and what 50's done and become, oh no, that's more than most black men have done in this culture. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it's not like none of us have, signed guys.
I'm just
like,
keeping it. We got to keep it a buck and be fair, though. It's like how many black artists in his position? Shade 45? Who?
What I mean?
Who? 50? Who? Blackballed 50? Shot up 50? Who? Not none of them New York niggas. New York niggas wasn't signing 50, am I wrong?
Wait a minute.
New York niggas signed 50, or did they drop 50?
Wait a minute. And I've said this before too. What about Jermaine Dupri signing Houdini? What about Tupac trying to get Melle signed before he passed?
Love those guys.
You know what I'm saying?
Deserve all the credit in the world, just like M does.
I'm just saying, like...
M deserves the credit.
Saying all this to say, sometimes in New York, and I love New York, it takes people outside of New York to look out for people that are in New York sometimes. And I think this was another one of those situations. And let's keep it real, man. Like, 50 Cent is 50 Cent, man.
Why
but
Jay-Z or DMX?
They saw
why Rough Riders didn't sign 50?
Because they had DMX.
Why Def Jam didn't sign 50?
Because they had Irv Gotti over there. It is what it is.
Blackball.
Yeah.
And who removed the blackball?
The people out west.
No. Eminem.
Well, it wasn't just him. It wasn't.
According to 50, it is.
Well,
According to 50, it is.
So it wasn't Jimmy or Dre.
According to 50.
They all came together to make this happen.
Even in an interview said, my relationship with Dre ain't even like that.
Yeah.
But my relationship with M is like that.
I respect it. And I respect the fact that
you see
the
that
50's
album
always...
Right? Like you know why that album happened, right?
Because of M.
Okay.
And I think, and I've said this on the show before, I think that's his biggest accomplishment in hip-hop, getting 50 on. We got to move on, though.
So shady.
Critical Master of the Super Chat says, Fugees went diamond 4 years before M. But sure, Coop, M is why Pac, Big L, Boogie, Pac, Big, L Boogie, Nelly, 50 Cent went diamond and not their incredible black talent.
When did they go diamond, though? Like, that's what I'm saying. You're talking about over a course of years. No, I was there in 96. Score didn't go fucking diamond in no year.
I thought it did.
Some bullshit.
When did
People
the score...
say fucking anything. They act like you weren't even here for stuff. None of them albums they talking about went diamond with it. When I said diamond, I said within a year or two.
Yeah, well.
Well, no Fugees going diamond that year. Fuck out of here.
So much going on, man. All right, listen.
No. We're going to pull up the Fugees.
We'll pull up the Fugees real quick. But I was going to say, man, I guess we pretty much almost out of time, though. But
we got about 10 minutes.
Let's talk about the LL thing real quick, man.
As of February 2021, the score has been certified 7 times platinum.
Okay, well, there it is. Maybe they're talking worldwide.
2021.
Maybe they're talking about worldwide.
And shit wasn't diamond worldwide that year either.
Listen, man, the numbers are the numbers. I don't really get caught up in the numbers because, I look up stuff all the time. They seem to change all the time.
No, the score is better than anything Eminem ever made, if you want to say that. It's like, oh, no, the score is better than anything Eminem ever made. Say that, but don't bring up that record shit.
LL got on Sway and, did a freestyle, and Sway asked him about that rumor. That I forgot the gentleman that got on Sway's show and said that. But he said he was in the studio and Who Shot You was about LL and not Pac. And LL said, he was in the studio when Big wrote it. And now that's all I needed to hear. Like, I didn't even care about the rest.
He's just now saying all of this. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's hell.
And so according to the people that were there, it was L, Big, Puff, and the gentleman that told the story, I believe.
I mean, Nasheem Myrick did the beats.
Yes, I don't know if he was there. I wish Sway would have asked him if the beat was meant for him first. But there really weren't a lot of follow-up questions. But this is my thing, right? LL's not gonna go out there and say that the record was aimed at him, even if it was. So in my mind, I'm like, listen, if I'm in the studio and I'm the only person to experience Big who's not here anymore, I guess sneak this LL or something, and the only other people that are there to tell that story other than me are LL and Puff, I might need to just keep that story to myself. They're not going to corroborate my story, even if I am telling the truth. Not saying LL's lying, but what would LL get out of saying, yeah, that was a shot at me, and I went out there and made I Shot You in response? You know what I'm saying? He said him and Big were cool. Said he saw Big write it, and it was funny that he said Big had a pen and a pad. He said this must have been before he started doing the off the dome thing, and I thought that was interesting that he pointed that out. And yeah, he said it wasn't about him.
I've heard other people say they've seen Big with a pen and a pad.
I mean, there's a photo of Big with the Brat, and think they were recording the B-side where he had a pen and a pad. So
I've heard the same thing about Jay.
I can believe it. It's hard for me to believe that Jay just did Girls, Girls, Girls off the top of his head and putting the pieces together.
I think he did that off the top of his head, but the guy
it's incredible.
The guy that made Reasonable Doubt, I've been told that he wrote that shit.
I can see that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No. But his best album he wrote, what I've been told.
Leroy Green with the Super Chat says, Coop, before M, every label wanted 50 because his buzz was crazy. 50 went out west to get away from the beef in New York.
Lies.
Man.
Lies.
We got to do some sub shows.
Lies.
We got to do some side shows about this whole topic, I see.
Blackball that man in his own town.
We let this whole verse take over the whole show.
It's cool.
But anyway, as far as the LL freestyle, man, what did you think?
He's cooking. He's cooking on there.
I mean, I hope we get an album, man. You know,
Some bar work on there. I was impressed. L still got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
L's nice.
He's always been nice.
Yeah, I want to hear it translate into album form. It was dope. I mean, it could have been better.
What LL album's better than the Eminem show?
What album's better than the Eminem show? I prefer Mr. Smith, Mama Said Knock You Out, and Bigger and Deffer.
I don't know about Mama
But-
Said Knock You Out.
Really?
The record, not the album. I don't know.
One's Bundy with the super chat says, most people that argue hip hop always try to exclude sales until it comes to defending Eminem. Interesting. Jay Short with the super chat says, so because Eminem gave 50 a job and got to make money off of him, I have to act like he's Russell Simmons? Jerry Heller signed black artists too. That is a fair point. Jerry Heller did sign NWA.
Have y'all seen what 50's life has been like since Eminem signed him? And y'all bringing up Jerry Heller? Do you see what the disrespect looks like?
I mean, he benefited.
No, those are not the same. That's not a fair analysis and comparison. Y'all are just throwing shit at the wall, hoping that bullshit sticks. It don't. Don't sit up there and compare Eminem and Jerry Heller. Jerry Heller is like the definition of an appropriator of this community. All right? Now, M's done some appropriating, but he's also done a lot of helpful things. Signing 50 is one of the very more helpful things that has been done.
But
I don't know about you. Rap, that is one of the few rap albums. Rap is not the same without that album.
But you don't see how signing 50 helped him? I mean, obviously, you're speaking about it to his legacy.
No, it's a super big, important part of his legacy.
Yeah.
Super big, important part of his
legacy. So it's mutually beneficial.
No, that's more symbiotic. Okay? That's a more balanced relationship. It's like, oh no, if people was worried about your credibility, I'm going to take care of that. You take care of me on the business side.
Exactly.
That works.
Exactly.
That's big.
One hand wash the other.
But what I'm
Both
trying
wash
to explain to you is that did nobody do for 50 what M did?
You know, to be perfectly honest with you.
In this black man's spear.
To be perfectly honest with you, what happened was the fact that nobody wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wanted to get involved in that. And nobody
wanted the trouble.
Yeah, nobody wanted the trouble.
M took on the trouble.
And I think that M and the people at Interscope, they've always been good at taking on the trouble. Like, even when Pac was coming out, you know what I'm saying? Like, coming out of jail, rather. And after, the allegations, after getting shot, after, even with Snoop at the murder trial, like, Interscope is the best place to go for a
troubled rap artist.
A troubled artist. They're kind of like the New England Patriots were at a certain point where they could just take somebody in, put them in the
felonies,
system.
Come get in the system.
Exactly. And so it was a good fit. It worked for everybody involved. Just like I say, Eminem was a great fit for Dre at the time. Like Dre and M, that was the perfect fit at the time.
Eminem saved Dre's day.
I think Snoop did, but hey.
No.
They both, he played a big part.
Because here's for whatever you feel about 2001, it's like, oh no, Slim Shady LPs before that.
Mm-hmm.
And that did financially.
Yeah.
The budget for 2001, yeah, Slim Shady.
Yeah, because Dre needed a win at the time, I would imagine.
Because Dre not getting the same budget after the Aftermath Presents in the Firm album. He's not getting the same budget.
Well,
go quadruple platinum with this new white rapper that you got though, and we up budget.
I know we were going to talk
record
hip-hop
business.
groups. I know we probably don't have a lot of time to do that. Maybe we can do that Wednesday. But did you see Big Boy from Outkast sitting down with Elliott Wilson?
I did.
Warmed my heart, man. I think that either Elliott Wilson's watching what we're doing because some of those questions are some of the topics that we talk about. I feel like we're the only people that really talk about Big Boy and the fact that he gets continuously disrespected by the publications. And I think some of that stuff came up. But yeah, Big Boy basically said that, they don't mention me because I'm out here, basically.
I mean, he pretty much watches our show and goes and interviews the people we talk about. So I'm just calling a spade a spade. It's like, wasn't he just sitting down with Hit Boy?
Yeah, it's like
okay, Big Boy.
Yeah.
Right. He just pretty much is like, oh,
Looking for
so
content.
so he's like, oh, I see what they're talking about, and I'm Elliot Wilson, so I'll just call him and go interview him.
Yeah.
I'm just calling a spade a spade. It's like if he got a problem with it, so what? But it's like very apparent at this point that he's stealing my shit.
It is what it is, man.
It's okay.
But I would love to, I would
day.
love to have a conversation with Big Boy too. I think that there's a lot to really unpack, and I like what Big Boy had to say as far as like the Outkast legacy. He's cool, collected as always. He's like, listen, if they want to put us as number one, cool, I'll take it. But everybody has their own opinion, and I think he brought up other genres and stuff and how they don't do the rankings like hip hop does. But
it's not
again,
competitive sport like
yeah, hip hop is competitive forever, and I mean, I think it's the only genre where we have diss records, right?
Right.
I mean, it is.
I told you, Rolling Stones was sitting up here taking shots at the Beatles.
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
Even this verse that we just got from M, it's not happening in any other genre.
No. Yeah. Told you, this is very much like
people
boxing.
care about their rankings.
This is boxing. This is tennis. There's like a ranking system. This is some one-on-one like fighting. You get points for the shit that you do. The better you obliterate your opponent, the better you are looked upon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts from, again, if we're going to talk about the origins in the park and all that stuff, where the MC would go out there and battle the next person to see who was the best rapper out there.
You had to be the best rapper in the neighborhood to get to the mic.
To get the mic.
Party.
Exactly.
Correct.
Like, who's going to get the mic? How do we find out who gets the mic? We got to have the person who's the best, right?
Right.
And so that just translated over to the music. And honestly, in my opinion, I'm glad we haven't lost that. And I'm glad that even with the internet, we can amplify that even more and, have conversations about it. Now, I could see how those conversations can get touchy with some of the artists who put their lives and their art, and we talk about it like it's whatever, like, like Method Man said, F a rap critic. You talk about it while I live it. So I can see how that could get touchy, but hey, it's hip-hop, man, and that's what we did pretty much this whole show, even talking about what, M just spit this past Friday. I mean, artists care. And the fans care too. That's why these conversations are continuously, vibrant. But Outkast being number one, I was surprised. And like I said, I'm happy for it. I never would have thought that,
I wasn't.
You weren't surprised?
The quality's there. The crossover appeal is there.
They're to the force.
Are there. Yeah. They check all the boxes. So.
They do. They made the albums. They got the hits.
Yeah, they got the notoriety. They got the bar work.
Their album songs are actually better than their singles, and their singles are great.
There's some timeless themes going on.
I do think, though, if there is a critique for Cass, right?
Not enough boom bap.
I wouldn't even say that. I think that
that's
just stopping. The stoppage in a sense where other guys just kept going. Even though when guys kept going, they gave us, some lackluster material. Like even with Wu-Tang, we could say, the Diagram album and all that
8
stuff.
Diagrams.
Yeah, it's like, but at least they're doing it though, and it's like
you could have kept it.
Yeah.
But kudos for doing it.
Yeah. And so it's like with Cass, it's so many question marks where it's like, man, what else could they have made? Because it's not like anybody lost their voice. It's not like anybody, got, lost anything that they have. Like they have everything intact. Nobody broke up. You know what I mean? Like that's the part that really makes you feel like, man, did Cass do enough? Could they have done even more? They stopped before they were even 30 as a collective.
The best thing that's happened to them is that their contemporaries haven't made a great or all-time great album post their breakage, stoppage, whatever you want to call it. Because had somebody like a Tribe or a De La or Wu-Tang come along and made something seminally better than Stank On You, or something that belongs in their classic catalog, I do feel like we would be having a different conversation. But I think they have done enough. I just don't think there's enough boom bap. And when I say boom bap, I mean that Mobb Deep battle that we did. I was just like, man, I was like, Mobb shouldn't be beating Outkast like this. It's like, shouldn't be beating them like this.
Well, that was an album, right? It wasn't, I want to clarify for the people.
It was Hell on Earth versus
Yeah, so it wasn't like we pulled from Cass's catalog and Mobb Deep's catalog, which that would be interesting too.
We might need to do that.
I think we might need to do that.
Because I would like to hear that. Just me personally. Those are my two favorite duos. So.
And the thing with groups too in hip hop, and again, I don't even want to, put this out there, but, so many of our great groups have lost members. You know what I mean? Tribe, Wu-Tang even, Mobb Deep. And the fact that these guys are, still, pretty much fairly young, vibrant, genius, and we didn't get anything past 2000, really the year 2000 with them as a unit, it just makes me feel like, damn. It's like, damn, could we have gotten more? Because they're still here.
I mean, how about this? I used to feel that way, but it's just been so long now, and I'm just in a different place in my life where I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's not happening ever.
Oh, yeah, now I know it's not happening, but I'm just saying, is that enough to get number one?
Yeah, I think it is.
You know what I'm saying?
No, those 4 albums are like that. It is the best 4-album run a group has ever had, in my opinion, still. I still feel that way. If you take those 4 albums and stack them up against anybody other group's 4 albums,
I agree with that.
They're going to win. Because that 4th album, for whatever we think of Stank on You, it's better than Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and it's better than whatever you have De La's 4th album at, and definitely better whatever Wu-Tang's 4th album is.
I agree with that.
And Public Enemy. NWA doesn't have enough. Same thing with Run DMC, so it's like, yeah, it would still be them, but by the hair they're chinny chin chin, Mike. Like not like it should be a gap actually a little bit had they kept on. So
right.
Also, real quick before we get out of here, Mike. I want you to name. How about this?
This is going to be fun.
No, is Donda better than any of the Tribe Called Quest albums? Any of them, Mike. Any of them. Album ain't no damn good, okay? It's not better than the Love Movement.
It's not better than the Love Movement.
Right, because you were going to the bottom. Correct.
Yeah.
And that's why Donda's not any good, Mike. Ron. Hello. Message. This is Coop signing off.
Because I like the Love Movement, though. It has its moments, but it's definitely Tribe's worst album.
Y'all trying to get me to believe Donda's good. All right.
Donda's definitely not as bad as you're making it seem. I actually like that. See, this is the thing, and I want to say this before we start. I like when artists are, I like when creatives take a chance, right? And I think that the chances that we're taking on Donda, I really dug. I think Praise God is better than every song on the Love Movement not named Find a Way.
Okay. Just so we're clear.
I just want to be clear. But see, this is the thing, though. That's how great Tribe is. And honestly, with Kanye's catalog, where does Donda really place? So we talking about Tribe's what? 5th best album?
6. They made 6. The late album.
Yeah. I need to listen to.
That's better than Donda, trust me.
You think the most recent album is better than the Love Movement too?
Yes, I do. I'm just giving you some context. It's like
where do you rank Kanye's albums before we go?
Late Registration is my shit.
Okay.
Then I would go My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Then I would go College Dropout. And then I would go Graduation. And then the rest of that stuff, you can keep that.
Really?
You can keep
wow.
Yeah,
see, we got a young producer in the building. And he's like, wow. No, I want to ask him, like, what's your top Kanye album?
Those 4 albums, and then there's that other bullshit he been doing.
No, we got to get another generation in on this because this is the thing.
Not 808.
This is the thing, Coop. Kanye is a generational artist where it's like he has a generation that will rank all of his albums totally different. Now, we don't have that a lot in hip hop. Sir, how would you rank Kanye's albums? I'm about to say Outkast.
It's okay for people to be wrong and me to be right, Mike. It's okay. I'm used to it.
I would say definitely Donda and Donda 2.
Okay, he got Donda and Donda 2 at the bottom. No, start from the top. Yeah.
It's a really bad album.
College Dropout.
Okay. College Dropout at 1.
I like that pick. That's usually everybody's pick.
My Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Okay, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy at 2.
That might be the number 1, though.
He has 3 that could be number 1.
He does.
Yeah.
I concur. Actually, he has 4 that could be number 1 because some people think Graduation is the lick.
Well, I was naming that. I was thinking that one.
Donda definitely 3.
He got Donda at 3? Okay, there we go.
Very problematic.
Where you got 808s and Heartbreaks?
Oh, hope you don't have it at all.
These are tough questions here. Armand with the super chat
Really
says,
not.
I understand what Coop is saying, but Stankonia is not better than The Stakes is High.
That's not De La's fourth best album to me, though. I think that might be
it's their fourth.
Ah, shit. I think it might be their second or their third.
Nah,
Told you that Balloon Mind State is fourth, Mike.
Balloon Mind State's beautiful. Love that album.
It's fourth.
I think that's third.
I think it's fourth.
They got a great catalog.
They do.
All right, well, let's get up out of here, man.
Great show.
All right, we got to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, all of that. We're going to get to some more topics on Wednesday, man. We're really going to explore this greatest hip-hop group of all time Wednesday.
So just real quick before we go, Eminem is one of those galvanizing figures where it's like, oh, no, just talking about him. No, that's a show because he's a figure like that. Okay.
All right, let's get up out of here. He sold records.
Wow.
He sold records. He did. They did a great job of selling.
Now, it looked like we had some people in the room, though.
Found that about